Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spill the Tea. Lou, obviously, it is time for Friday Night Chaos with Lou and Ash. Obviously, if you have not done so already, do go subscribe to Ash NUFC. He is tagged in the description, but don't do it right now. Wait until after the show. If you haven't had enough Ash by the end of this show, you've not been paying attention, but you can get more of him if you go across to his channel. But Ash, there's a lot happening. There's battles all over the place. This the most boring Premier League season ever. Nothing's happening. Super duper boring. Is it even the best league in the world anymore? And everybody's killing each other for all the spots. Never mind a title race. Never mind a race or a fight for the Champions League spots. What about this battle not to be relegated? Because honestly, it is hot enough. And the way the fixtures are falling this season, or this weekend, they're all important fixtures because every single one of them matters, like majorly. So it's going to be fantastic. But before I go to you, hello to everybody in the chat. Dave Boy yet again in first, good and early, several hours in advance, telling everybody to hit the like button as they join, and that he will be back later, I would say, from the pub. Gary is in the house. Gary, bless his cotton socks, has been consistently with us no matter how bad things get for Spurs. Gary has been in the chat with us, flying the flag high. Shem is in the house tonight, keeping him company, flying the Spurs flag. Obviously, our Flossie, who was a birthday yesterday, our Flossie. She was 21 and some change yesterday. And Guess is in the house also. Obviously, everybody get a vote on the poll because it is: which battle is the most interesting right now? The title race, the Champions League spots, or the relegation battle? We obviously know Wolves are going down. We know more or less Burnley's going down. But who is going to be in 18th? Who's going to take the third relegation spot? Genuinely is anybody's guess right now, and it's wonderful. But Ash, I'm going to take a slurp of tea. You tell us how you are, and then talk to me about a 6-1 win. Woohoo!
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy time. I had a feeling like when obviously we got through the Champions League into the round, into the knockout stages like we have, I knew we were going to be either against Monaco or Karabag, and I thought we would probably go well against either of them. I will say I didn't expect a 6-1 win away at Karabag. That was not on the cards. I still can't believe that. I feel like that no matter what, that's an impressive win against any team, especially how far Karabag got. They obviously they drew to Chelsea 2-2. They're not exactly a pushover team. I think any team in the Champions League isn't a terrible team. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. And I've got a stat for you, Lou. Did you know in that game, Anthony Gordon has now become the fastest ever English person to get a hat-trick in the Champions League?
No, I actually didn't. I have heard different stats about Anthony Gordon this week, many of them around goals in the European competitions. I hadn't heard that one. So
there you go.
You heard it here first, people. Look at you.
33 minutes. 33 minutes was it?
That's
it was
very good, though.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was very impressive, and I'm not gonna lie to you, he probably could have got it quicker. He probably should have scored a couple more before. It was the keeper had an exceptional performance, to be honest, especially in the first half. He saved a lot of goals, and to say that we weren't winning away at all, we've now won 3 away on the bounce. There was hectic fixtures. We've kind of come through to the back end of it, and we've come through better. Obviously, it's nice to see, especially now Bruno's out. We're actually winning games. No, it's nice. The team's starting to finally gel, like I said it would eventually. Alanga, Jacob Ramsey, all these players are looking a lot better. But for me, it's going to be very interesting this weekend, especially because out of the people that are chasing for that 18th spot, West Ham's probably got the easiest fixtures compared to Forest and Leeds and Spurs.
Yeah. I genuinely, we're going to get into that because I genuinely think that's the most exciting thing, because Actually, there
100%.
could be one of 4 teams. I think it's very exciting. Very
Yeah,
exciting.
it's
Sachin
definitely.
agrees with us as well, because Sachin is saying, how is the relegation battle not the most exciting thing right now? And he's obviously referring to the fact that 50% of people have voted for the title race. Give over. There's nothing exciting about Arsenal and City again. It's not exciting. We care about the relegation battle.
Yeah, I feel like if unless Villa wins, I feel like people aren't really that bothered about Man City or Arsenal, unless if it's a direct rival or a derby. I feel like it doesn't really bother many people that.
Well, I
The
hate
rest,
them, so by default, I don't care either. Even though they're both rivals, so unless only one of them is your rival, so like obviously Spurs fans with Arsenal,
yeah.
no one cares.
See, I get that exactly. Whereas, like, I think the Champions League spots is going to be interesting because there's going to be some teams that miss out in that, no matter what, with who's up there. And then obviously the relegation's good.
I have a hot take on that one. Well, it might not be a hot take because other people might feel it. Gary here, who obviously is a Spurs fan, says it'll be very exciting if Arsenal lose it,
wow.
which is fair. That's fair. But Ash, we're not done with Newcastle, because you were talking there about the team gelling together, okay? Which does seem to be what's happening. However, and I genuinely don't know what happened here. What happened here? What was going on at the end of the match? Because he seemed genuinely really mad. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so there was actually, I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but I did actually watch this. So after the match, they actually had
I never know what I'm going to bring up, to be honest. It's whatever. See, when I'm scrolling, whatever I find, I'm like, click. That's me.
They actually had an interview with Trippier and Gordon together. And they actually asked this question, what it was about. Basically, what it was about was because Trippier wanted someone else to score a penalty because Gordon's already scored a hat-trick and for the 4th goal. And Gordon is the penalty taker. So I think Trippier was just got a bit heated in the moment about that. Just kind of wanted someone else to get it, probably like Baltimore or something, help him gain some confidence, which I get. That's a great thing to do as a team player. But at the end of the day, Anthony Gordon is our penalty taker, so it's his right to do it. Obviously, he wanted the penalty to score more goals.
And Anthony Gordon has had a tough time this season in the Premier League with goals. So I can understand why he would want to keep the momentum. I didn't realize that's what it was over. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, they spoke about it, and it was basically it was. They kind of laughed it off in the interview. It's just one of those things. They were just heated at the time. It's the way it always goes in football, especially with stuff like this. It's really it's not the end of the world, but yeah. At the end of the day, I think the right person took it, being Gordon, just because he is the penalty taker. I think it always should be like that. You should always have your penalty taker take it, unless he chooses to give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Then sure. I wouldn't want someone else in the team to argue against that.
In there, Trippier wanted Nick Voltemata to take it. The problem is then, right? So say Trippier argues with Gordon for Voltemata to take it. Voltemata takes it and misses. I mean, that's what you're risking.
Exactly.
Whereas if Gordon is your penalty taker, he takes it, and whether it goes in or doesn't go in, you've just done what you always do. When you change the plan and then it doesn't work, it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, it is. But like I said, I don't have the problem with it. It's frustrating, I guess, because you don't want that happening before the penalty take happened. If that was a conversation, because it might put Gordon off taking it, like he might end up missing it. Which, at the end of the day, like I said, how it should go. You have a penalty taker, he takes it. If, of course, he's on a hat trick at this point, he's then, do you know what? I'll give it to Voltemata. Then fine, he has the choice to do that. It's not in someone else's hands to
I would agree with you. It's for him to sort of say, no, you take it, or I'm taking it. It's not for somebody else to come along and force it on him. Chris is in the house. It's lovely to see you, Chris. Thank you for being here. And Sachin says, good on Gordon. City blew the FA Cup final with Haaland not taking the penalty. Lessons learned from that. And even though obviously the scoreline was good for you in this instance, you have to just, if that's the way you do it, stick to it. Don't change it at a pivotal moment, because you never know what the sort of knock-on effect
I mean, the thing is, like, when you boil it down, at the end of the day, of course, they're probably not going to overturn a 6-1 win. Like, but the way you look at it, the way you look at it, we're probably going to rest basically all of our players for that game. So we're going to have a lot of youngsters play the game back at St James's Park. So imagine this: imagine we don't score that game, they come to us and score goals, and somehow they beat us, and it's all because of this one thing. So look, I have no problem. Gordon, score as much as you want. Fill your boots, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what is a little bit more controversial than this disagreement, Ash. Something that I find much more questionable than a discussion over who takes the penalty. This that I have only just discovered in recent minutes. Newcastle United are planning a deviation from their traditional black and white striped shirt for their home kit next season. In 2026-27, Eddie Howe's side will wear shirts with a mixture of different sized black stripes, some of which will run through the larger white stripes, with a thicker one down the middle of the front and with a blue trim. The black, which features on the largely white sleeves, will be pinstripes. And Ash, you very kindly shared this with me. This is what the proposed jersey would look like, Ash. I find this to be very controversial. It looks like a barcode.
I think it looks like a science experiment, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not. Right, look. I was saying to you, I think that this was a potential option, and it's been leaked to the fan base to get people's opinions on it before we just randomly drop this, because there will be a lot of uproar. I've seen similar things to this over the past couple of months. I'm not a massive fan of it, but the fact it keeps on coming back in my feed and it keeps on appearing, I'm slightly worried that this is going to happen. Do I hate it?
It would concern me that it keeps coming back. That would worry me.
The more I look at it, though, the more I've looked at it over the past few months, the more it's kind of grown on me, but I would not buy it, if I'm going to be honest. Like, this is where my issue is. If I'm looking at a kit like this and I'm saying I wouldn't buy it, I think that's a bad decision from the owners, because that means fans won't buy it.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what, Ash? I kind of like the blue trim. I love.
No, I agree.
As a United fan, I really shouldn't, but I love that shade of blue. It's really lovely.
No, same. The blue trim's nice.
It's the other bit. See if they just added the blue trim to kind of your own normal jersey. If they blocked it a little bit, it's the pinstripe. It's the pinstrap. Yeah, Flossie saying we really do look like barcodes. Like, genuinely, you'd scan that in Tesco, wouldn't you? I just think if they didn't.
Oh my god! Do you know what? Do you know what? That just reminded me. I saw a video very recently of a guy who had a tattoo on his wrist right here, and it was the barcode to the Cadbury's cream egg for Tesco. Ooh. And I was like, do you know what? I would get that, but imagine like the next year they just change the barcode of that. You just got a random barcode in your arm.
Your arm. That's unreal. Sachin says, I have to say it looks ugly, but it's not my club, so it's not. Sam is in the house, and I didn't spot Sam sneaking in there. Hello, Sam. And he says, I don't dislike it, but Sam's a Chelsea fan, so I don't know if he's on the wind-up or if he's trying to be nice. But Flossie is having absolutely none of it at all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Sachin did ask a question. Now, Sachin, I think you may not have been on the live when I talked about this the other day. So about Nick Voltemata not being happy in his role and the potential for him leaving next season. So the last time actually Ash was on with me, we were Friday last week, weren't we, Ash? So it would have been last Friday. We actually looked at a photo shoot in an article that Nick Voltemata had done with GQ magazine where he wore some questionable clothing. So I feel like this outfit could be right up his street, to be honest. But in the article, he was saying how supported he felt by the Newcastle fans, how he loved their reaction after his own goal, how he felt like he was in the right place for him, and basically how much he loved Newcastle and being there was exactly the right decision, and the fans that make him feel so welcome. And then this story seems to have come out from a German outlet, and some of the German papers or publications weren't particularly happy when he initially went to Newcastle. So it seems to be a little bit of fear mongering and sour grapes, because the word from Voltemata himself seems to be very positive. But you know yourself, when a journalist says something, you expect them not to be bitter liars, and you expect them to like actually report factual information. So I
Sandro Tonali.
Oh, don't even get me started. I actually can't. I can't listen. I genuinely can't listen. And you know what makes me actually, what annoys me about it? Do you see, if I didn't know you and Flossie, and if I didn't watch like mixed fan channels like say Hussam and Mo and everybody, if I didn't watch those channels and I only watched United channels, which is what I would have done before when I first came on like football YouTube during COVID, actually, I only watched United channels, I would have believed this. I would have got my hopes up. I would have thought we really had a chance of signing Sandro Tonali, because either they're just fantastic liars or they also genuinely believe it's possible for us to sign him. And I think some of them do, because they're saying it with such conviction, Ash. But I would have believed them. I know it's not true, and I still sort of believe them because I want to. But it's very frustrating.
It is. Well, I think the problem is it gets loads of clicks. It gets them again. They gain a lot of traction, and what happens 2 weeks after it doesn't come into fruition? They just disappear in the ether. Like everyone just forgets about their comment and who sent it, and then suddenly they've gained followers, they've gained this, and then by the time it comes down to say the summer transfer, and then suddenly if the transfer happens, he could be like, "Look, I called this. It just happened. It didn't happen at the time. It's happened now." It's like, I don't know. It is slightly frustrating. I think you've always got to kind of nitpick and find the truth in all the articles, and it's quite hard to find, especially when you do quite often rely on journalists, because you think they should be telling the truth, but sometimes they're not, unfortunately.
And I think that's the problem, because it is, when you see that like their job as journalists, you expect they at least attempt to tell the truth. But Flossie's killing me, because she's so Flossie is not an angry person, but she's quite no nonsense. She doesn't like nonsense. And I see with all these rumors, I can hear her no nonsense voice. Let's be honest, if all the rumors are to be believed, every one of our first team are leaving in the summer. To be fair, what I will say is I did see Ben Jacobs on the United stand the other day, it might have been yesterday. And I think a lot of these quotes are being attributed to Ben. But I watched him on the United stand yesterday. And what he said was, if you guys don't get European football or don't get Champions League football, you may be in a financial position where to buy anybody, you may need to sell one major player. And it may be Tonali, or it may be Voltemata, or it may be, he said, I wouldn't say a specific player. They may be selling one of these, but I couldn't say who, depending on their financial situation, which actually is not really what's being put out there as what he said, when actually I watched it and that was what he said. So he's being somewhat misrepresented everywhere, because he hasn't said you're going to sell all these players, you're going to sell this one and this one and this one. What he has said is you might have to sell one of these 3 or 4 players. Not you're going to sell all of them, and only if certain criteria are met. So I do think poor Ben is being thrown under a bus here, because it's not what he said. But it's what's being put out now as, well, Ben Jacobs said they're going to sell everybody. And he actually literally said, I don't think they'll sell more than one. Was his exact words. I don't think they will sell more than one. So I think it's really not fair.
I've listened to quite a lot of what Ben Jacobs says. And I have noticed something about him. He chooses his words very carefully, that it leaves a lot to be unsure about. Like, it's always like, ooh, they could do this, but, and it's a massive but, and it's always just like, I think it's the same with a lot of journalists. I think they just feed into speculation a bit. Sandro Tonali could be sold this summer, but doesn't mean he will be. It's like any player could be. It's
I think they have to feed into it a little bit. I think in this day and age, I think they have to feed a little bit. But, and again, I haven't watched the previous shows he's been on, so I don't know exactly what he said before. I agree with you. You have to listen to what he says. If you pay attention, you'll understand. But you do have to listen to him. But he did specifically say yesterday, I don't think they will sell more than one. Word for word.
The only thing that gets to me, I think, the most is we all know players look at social media.
Yeah.
And then you'll see videos, streams, articles come out stating Tonali is not happy here. He is going to Arsenal, going to Man United, stuff like this. You'll see that, which the players will then see it themselves, which then obviously gives negative thoughts into their head. And not just that, it also gives negative thoughts into some Newcastle heads that haven't seen that obviously it's not happening. They just think he's not happy here anymore. So, of course, it just creates discomfort in the fan base and within the team. And I'm not a big fan of that, like, to be honest.
Well, look what happened with Baleba. Baleba was linked to us in the summer, never happened. And I think the links were very real, clearly.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
But look at the impact it's had because the move didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? So I agree.
You see the same with John Larson.
Yeah.
John Larson was when it come to us as well. And then obviously he only scored like one goal for Wolves during that half, and then went to Palace and scored 2 goals in the one game. So it's,
but it goes to show,
yeah, it does.
It really does. But, Ash, I did want to give Newcastle their moment, particularly with that wonderful jersey. But there was a lot happening.
Also, you've got to say about Gordon, 10 goals in the Champions League.
Yes.
Fucking crazy.
Yes, but isn't it, if he gets like three more, he breaks another record. There's like loads of records there's loads of records he's going for. I think the most an English player or a Premier League player, I don't know if it's a Premier League player maybe, has ever scored in a single season in the Champions League.
Yeah, it will be that.
Or something.
My only issue with that is that's because of the format changed.
Yes, that's
now true. There's more games, they play different. It's
part of it is 4 in 1 game, though, to be fair. I agree with you, but I do also think he's boosted himself fairly. Wills is here. Wills, to be fair, you actually had a bit more backup last night. I did my match reaction to Arsenal Wolves yesterday, and I actually had Kai on with me. We had a Chelsea fan doing it with me, which would have been painful, but Albo is not here this evening, but Albo was here yesterday, and he was absolutely repping the Arsenal fans. And you know what? He took all the banter, he took all the fun. He was great crack. So, Wills, it's your turn tonight to be the Arsenal rep in the chat. I don't know if Ray is here this evening, but so far, you're it. Sachin says Baleba has been awful this season. He really has been woeful. I think he's either not good enough or his attitude, his mentality isn't right. Regardless, I don't want him. I do not want him, and it looks like we're getting him, and it's making me really mad. I don't want him. Sachin is saying 16 is the all-time record. He could break that if they make it far enough. He could break it, but as you say, Ash, like a lot would be put down to then, well, it's the format, it's this, it's that. He probably wouldn't get all of the credit that he would have got otherwise if the format hadn't changed. I thought someone said 13, but Sachin might be right. Wills is saying, great to hear. We need to get them back in the chat. To be fair, Albo comes in pretty regular. Ray comes in pretty regular as well. They might come in a little bit later into the show because, let's be honest, everybody knows when it's Lou and Ash, we're going to be here for a little while. Even when we do, I have no plan whatsoever for this show. None at all. We're going to talk about the Premier League. That's the plan. And we're already 24 minutes in and we're just only starting to mention it now. So let's face it, we're going to be around for a while. They'll probably come. There you go. Sachin is on the ball. 13 could be, I would say that's what it is. I think 13 is the record for a Premier League player, and 16 might be the all-time record.
So it's 17. 17 is the all-time record.
There you go.
Ronaldo got. Yeah. So Ronaldo got Cristiano Ronaldo got 17 in 2013-14 season in the Champions League.
There you go. There you go. See? Love it. Love it. I don't have to look anything up because you guys do it for me. And Dave Boy and Flossie are both giving Albo his flowers. He took it so well last night. He was very good because we did have a bit of a giggle, but he took it well. But Ash, there's a lot of other things going on in the world other than you guys beating Qarabağ 6-1. There's a lot happening in the Premier League. So first of all, before we do anything else, I'm going to just put the table on the screen. And then what we're going to do, there is literally so much happening. We normally have a topic or a manager or somebody specific we're going to talk about. I normally put them on the thumbnail. People have an idea. But tonight, I was like, I literally can't narrow it down to enough things that would fit on a thumbnail, which is why it just says the Premier League, because I couldn't fit everybody onto the thumbnail I needed to put on it. So what we're going to do is just start at the top and work our way down, and we'll stop at the parts that we think are exciting to talk about. And then when we feel like enough time has passed, we will do the predictors. Because otherwise, we might be here until tomorrow. We might actually be here when the football starts tomorrow. But Arsenal and Manchester City. Ash, I thought this was done. Okay, it took me the guts. We were most of the way into the season. It was only about 3 weeks ago. I came to terms with the fact that Arsenal were going to win the title. I denied it all season. I was like, no, Villa can do it. They're going to push through. And then eventually that 1 week where Villa lost the first points, I thought, right, I'm just going to have to accept the fact that Arsenal are going to win the Premier League. I inserted it into my brain, okay? And it feels like the minute I accepted that they were going to win, they decided, no, we need to traumatize her more and present the possibility that she will have to accept Manchester City is now going to win the league, and she's going to be re-traumatized for the second time this season. And I'm taking this as a real personal insult by Mikel Arteta, who has no thought for my mental health and my welfare, having to go through this twice. Ash, what is he doing?
I have said from the start that this was a severe possibility. And I said it's not because
Sachin's backing you.
Not even a few weeks ago. I said this at the start of the season. I said this 4 games into the season, actually, which is why I apparently got called about this, saying that Zubamendi's goals don't count. It was the whole part of my topic, of my whole thing that I brought up, was Arsenal are struggling in the front side for scoring open play goals, which at the time they were 19th for doing that, to be honest. They're a different team now. I said the reason why they didn't win last season was because of getting draws. And long behold, it's coming to bite them in the ass. Now,
I can't believe it.
Now it's actually in Man City's hands. If Man City wins every game now for the rest of the season, they win the Prem.
Yeah.
And that would then also mean they then obviously beat Arsenal, which then also brings into topic, there is a serious point here. We could be seeing the league finish Man City, Aston Villa, Arsenal. That is a severe possibility. Arsenal could be third and Villa could be second by the end of the season. Granted, do I think that's going to happen? No. I think it's still between Arsenal and City.
I don't think Villa is going to get Champions League football.
That's a crazy take.
I've gone from willing them to win the Premier League. I've now decided it's no longer possible for them to win the Premier League. It's down to Arsenal or City. If they're not going to help me out by winning the Premier League, then they can't have a European spot. They need to get the F out of my way, is essentially what I think. I've had enough of them.
I think they're pretty secure, in my opinion, again. And I think it's kind of
Gary
ruined.
Gary has an excellent point here. Gary says, all of these people in here chatting, and there's only 16 likes on the video. Gary, calling ye all out. Get it done, people. Hit that thumb. Sachin is saying Villa will recover once Onana and Tielemans come back. Not if Emery gives him another shove, but but you never know. But Wills, I think it's fair we get relegated if we don't win it. To be honest, Wills, be careful, because there was some Spurs fans, not any of the ones we know, but there was some Spurs fans saying if it takes getting relegated to get rid of Frank, we'll do it and then we'll come back up. Be careful what you wish for. You might not be relegated, but you might lose a lot more points. He's trying to, do you know what he's trying to do? He's trying to double bluff. He thinks
reverse psychology.
He thinks I jinxed them. He's trying to unjinx them. The power of the jinx is strong with me. Have you seen my team? They haven't been able to win for 15 years. All me. But I have to say, I knew, and I was actually talking to Kai about this last night, so I knew Arsenal had been top of the league 4 times prior to this season at Christmas and had then gone on not to win. I knew that. What I didn't realise was that one of those years, they had an 8-point lead in January. I didn't know that, because that was actually what was making me just like realise that we're going to win, because I thought the gap is so big. Because I think, see, I know people were talking about 9 points, but the game week wasn't over. For me, I go by, right, see if Arsenal, let's just say everyone's played the same amount of games in this example, okay? Say Arsenal play tomorrow and they win. And they were to then go, like, what would that make it? 50, 53, what's 5 and 8? Let's say then that would make them 8. I can't, honestly. Say they were 8 points clear, right? But then City play tomorrow, and then it's back to 5 points. So to me, we're never 8 points clear. You weren't clear of anything because City always had the game in hand. You weren't clear because it was a game in hand. So to me, when there's a game in hand, you can't use the word clear. I go game week by game week. So when everybody has played, now this is an anomaly because of the way the scheduling is, but if like on Friday, everybody has played 26 games, and then on Monday, everybody has played 27 games, whatever happens in the middle, at no point are you clear. To me, I measure, okay, if on Friday, when everybody has played 26 games, the gap is 5 points, and then on Monday, when everybody has played 27 games, the gap is still 5 points, nobody was clear at any point because nothing's actually changed. And it's a peeve of mine. And maybe I'm being pernickety, but my thing is, if the match week isn't over, the gap hasn't moved because it isn't finished. It's just, it makes no sense. You're looking at me like I'm talking a different language.
No, the thing is, I've always been in two minds about this, because I agree in the sense it's game week by game week, but then I do also think sometimes if a team does play before, you could potentially add pressure on the other team to then also get points, which, granted, it's not points gained or lost, but say if my team was playing a day after another team and we were in a title match, and we know, the players know, is now got in their heads that the other team's caught up the points. Yeah. But it might affect them slightly mentally.
I understand what you're saying, in that I think knowing that the other team has already won can put extra pressure on you to also win. That I agree with. But see, the other part which you said was, you said not close the gap. You said something else. They've already, did you say close the gap? Something to that effect.
I said it's like, it's not points gained. It's not really like
that's the thing. But that's what people say. People say it's points gained. The gap has closed. The gap hasn't closed. The gap has not closed. The gap is exactly the same, because you can't say the gap is closed because of schedule. It really, and honestly, it really, what's the word where it's just about like words and grammar? It's what's the word for? Ash, help
Words
me
and
out
grammar.
here. The word.
Words
Do you know
and
when you're
grammar.
do you know when you're arguing over like what a word means?
Semantics.
Semantics. See, I knew you would know what I meant. Right. I understand it's somewhat semantics, but I think it's important semantics because the gap has not closed.
No, I completely agree on what you're saying.
People keep saying it, Ash. Why do they keep saying it? The gap isn't closed. It's not closed. It's not wider. The game week hasn't finished. But then I think it creates a narrative that doesn't exist. People are creating, they're creating stories. And I think, look, people make a living off YouTube. I hope one day I can make a living off YouTube because if people can pay me for talking, I will absolutely be excellently pleased about that. But there's so much to talk about. There's so much genuine things to talk about without making things up yourself. If you go on Saturday, oh, well, the gap has widened or the gap has closed. And then the next day, when the game week ends and you go the other direction, oh, and they've opened the gap again or they've closed the gap again. You're literally making stuff up. Just shut up.
Yeah, for me, how I see it, it's the points are the same. It's the team that plays the second fixture, they haven't bottled it, in my opinion. It's not about points gained, or it's whether the second team drops points, because then it is that. If it's the same, it's no difference.
It's just really does it. It genuinely irritates me. Like Sachin is saying, the gap did close between those days, though. And while I understand what you're saying, technically the number got smaller. But for me, the game week is one thing. To me, it's like a book with different chapters, but it's only one book. I don't know the whole story until I read every single chapter. You can't finish the book without reading all the chapters or you're missing a bit of the story. So while technically the numbers change, it's in progress. It's not finished. You don't have all of the information. And the scheduling is luck or bad luck, as some people might say, the way it's been done this season. Like, say if you're scheduled today and I'm scheduled tomorrow, United's scheduled on Monday. So what, is everyone going to close the gap on us? No, because we haven't played yet. The match week, it's impossible for us to have the same points as you. Therefore, you can't say nothing has been achieved. And I think that's what it is. People talk about it's being as if something's been achieved. The gap has been closed. We've achieved that. No, you haven't. It's not finished. And it's I don't know if you can tell. It's wearing on me a little bit, Ash. And I see
I get that.
What is well said here. Not only are some people saying the gap is only 2, but also City will be in front after the City-Arsenal game. It's possible, but not certain.
Well, yeah.
What do they mean the gap is only 2? So they're counting the City. They're saying essentially City will absolutely beat Arsenal. Therefore, the gap is not 5, it's 2. Which is not... That's even more of a nonsense. Thank goodness I haven't seen that because my head might have combusted.
Yeah, so they're saying obviously obviously Arsenal's City's got a game in hand right now. So if City win the next game, they will then be 2 points behind Arsenal.
Which means that both teams will have played 27 games each, and the gap would be in that scenario too.
Yeah. So people are just saying like the City will win the game versus Arsenal,
and that the game in hand is a win as well.
I've always said this, right? If you're going to be title challengers and you're going to be getting the title, you should always be winning the games at home, and then away you want to either win or draw, a draw as well. So yeah, it's obviously in City's favour, but it's definitely not a guaranteed game 1 for City in that respect.
No, because no harm, right? 2 things, right? I hate both of these teams. I want both of these teams to keep losing. Just keep losing. Somebody else can win. Not Villa, us. But it just... Arsenal are currently bottling a league they should be winning. And if they don't win this league, I think Arteta should be sacked because I think that's appalling. And I think to draw against Wolves was appalling. However, I also believe this is not the City of old. This is not the City that's going to go on a massive run. This is not the City that you can say that is a guaranteed win. I don't even think this is the City that you can say will definitely beat Arsenal. So to me, the two of them have doubts. The two of them have question marks hanging over them. Because I think if this was not even last season, because we were brutal last season, 2 seasons ago, City, I think yes. I think you can probably say they're going to smash them. City's going to win. But this City is wobbling as much as Arsenal.
Yeah, I think I would say I am 99% sure the title, along with the Champions League and relegation, I think all of them are going to be decided on the final day. I think every single thing. So. I genuinely think that every single main spot is going to be decided on the final day, and I am like fairly certain of it by the way that the league's gone so far.
I hope so. I hope so. And just Marv is in the house, everybody. Welcome to Marv. Sachin says, my concern is that if City win this while in rebuild, good luck competing with them for the next decade because their core at the minute is young. I think that Pep leaves at the end of the season, no matter what.
I think that's the biggest issue with that.
Yeah,
I think everyone would agree if Pep stays, but this man is approaching the pina coladas on Barbados or the Jamaica beach. I think bro is going to be going, and
he was
I'm not
supposed to be gone already. He planned to be gone last season. But we stole Amram and buggered his plan, and then they changed it. So I think he's done at the end of this season, no matter what. Look what's happened to Liverpool now post Jurgen Klopp. Look what happened United post Fergie. We're still doing it. I mean, and I'm saying there, if Arteta doesn't win the Premier League or obviously the Champions League, but let's just focus on the Premier League for now, I think, and they get rid of him, who are they going to get in? I just think when you've had a manager in situ for a long time, you have no idea what's going to happen, no matter how good the structure is, no matter how together everything seems, no matter how well run it all looks. See, until you take that person out, you have no idea. And I think Manchester United is an absolutely fantastic example of this. And I think Liverpool is now a more modern example of this. And I think nobody knows what City are going to look like post-Pep. Now, Sachin is saying he was supposed to be gone for 7 years now. You must not have seen this, Sachin. I talked about it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again because I did like nearly a full video talking about this. Pep was... I know there's rumours. There's always rumours. There's always rumours all the time in football about everything, about players, managers and everything else. Pep was supposed to leave City last season because there's a guy that works with Ruben Amorim. He goes into the club the following year, Ruben Amorim follows. It's what he did at Sporting. It's what he did the club before that. They work together at every club Amorim has been at. This guy moved to City. It was coming out. Amorim was going to go to City and follow him. This guy was essentially paving the way. Pep was going to leave. We took Amorim. City asked Pep to stay another season. Pep and his wife split up. Pep and his wife got back together. I believe that's on the condition that he follows through with what he said he was going to do and actually leaves City. I 100% absolutely believe Pep is going to leave City at the end of this season. I believe it was actually already in place. I believe it actually damaged his personal life. And I 100% believe that's why he's going to leave at the end of this season. I think that there's too much information. The timeline makes too much sense. I think he's done. 100% done. I'd be very surprised if he stays. That's my TED talk on Pep. But I've done a lot of research on Pep. I know all about him. But Ash, not only do we have, so you reckon as it stands, City are going to win the title? We don't know, but if you're guessing now, just as a guess.
I'm going to say City because I've said City from the start. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a 50-50. I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a flip of the coin. but I think the title race could be decided, like I said, from the Carabao Cup final. I actually
Yeah.
think that
You know what? A few people have been copying you because you did
Mm.
say that a few weeks ago. And now I'm hearing everybody's saying it. And I'm like, Ash said that first. I know it. So,
Yeah, well, I think it is. I think, well, like I said, it's a big mentality thing.
mhm.
Only because the Arsenal players haven't won the Prem, and I think that could destroy them mentally. If they win, I think it doesn't change anything, and I think it goes to the last day of the season. But I
Mhm.
think if City wins, I think that could end the title race there. Which I kind of hope not, because I would love for it to go to the last day, and it's going to be a race for the European spots, Champions League
Yeah.
spots, the title, relegation. It's going to be a drama-filled last day of the season. It's going to be great to see.
But that's what I want. I want neither of these teams to win, but the fact is one of them's going to. So at the very least, I want it to be fun.
The thing is,
I hope, as you
everyone,
say, it's down to the wire.
listen, if anyone wants to be a proper football fan, get Man City to win, because when 115 comes in and they get charges, all these titles mean fuck all anyway. Who
I
cares?
was
Let
like,
them win.
Ash,
Let them
you're
win.
not doing the be a real football fan. Please, I'm going to have to ban you. Somebody
Absolutely
said
not.
that to me the other day. They were like, as a United fan. And I was like, oh, as a United fan, we're doing that, are we? I don't bloody well think so. I left the channel for that nonsense. You're not a real fan if you don't say what I say. Yeah, shove that up your backside. But anyway,
I do
trigger.
think I think it's crazy when people gatekeep football and football clubs. Everyone has their own right to support how they want to.
100%.
Unless, actually, no, I take that back. You don't. If you support multiple teams, you don't have a right.
No, well, that's different, because that's not actually supporting a team. That's just supporting
football.
like a football. So I think then you have to say you're a football fan, not you're like a fan of a team.
Yeah.
Which is fair. But what it took me so long. It took me so long to come to some sort of peace with the fact that Arsenal was going to win the league. I don't think I have the capacity to now change my mind and say, no, City are going to win the league. So I now have to believe Arsenal are going to go and win this league, because I've already mourned the fact that it's happening. It's like, do you know when your cat escapes, they're gone for 2 weeks, you think they've died, and then they come back. And you're like, I've already mourned you, you little git. That's how I feel about Arteta and Arsenal right now. I've gone through the grieving process, and now they're telling me, oh, no, it's fine. And I honestly...
Arsenal fans have definitely had a roller coaster of emotions, from going to say that they're walking the league's theirs, to to where we are now. It's quite funny. I can't lie. They've taken a full-on U-turn.
They
it was
have.
exactly how I thought it was going to go.
But right, Arsenal fans, now not Wills. Wills has been quite good this season.
Yeah.
We'll have some really nice Arsenal fans in our chat, okay? But there are some really annoying, irritating Arsenal fans out there. I mean, really get under my skin, irritating. My brother is one of them, my little brother, okay? So he's extra annoying. But can you imagine the City fans if they go on to win this now? Because I actually feel like they're going to imagine, and this man is supposedly very nice as a human being. I don't know him personally, but just from a content perspective, imagine a Hamza.
Oh, he's getting blocked and everything for the next year.
But this is my point. Or Martin that goes on Mo and Hassan.
I get the people and the things you're on about, but I also think if Arsenal wins, their fan base is even worse.
I just think they'd be equally annoying, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I've just heard stuff of them. Some of the things that I've heard from Arsenal fans when they haven't won the league has been absolutely mind-boggling. So if they win the league, I cannot dread to think what words are going to come out of their mouths. I don't know what I'll be able to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave Boy is something that's going to cheer us all up. Piers Morgan will leave the country if Arsenal don't win the league. That should be enough to make us want City to win.
That may be the best news I've ever read. Like, I might actually like buy a City shirt at this point.
Dave Boy has sold us.
That's do you know what? We've got them next.
You've solved the problem. That really tickled me.
That's a win for mankind, not even football.
Oh dear God, that's really funny. Well done, Dave Boy. That's a good one. But really, we don't want either of them to win. One of them's going to. I hope at the very least they make it fun. Sam is saying he will now cheer City. Will says every team has annoying fans. If you think you don't, I let you know of one. Oh, I can tell you some of the annoying fans in my fan base, and I can tell you some of the annoying fans that pretend to be in my fan base. I mean, if you want to do a list, I can do that, so I wouldn't worry. We've all got annoying ones. Yeah, do you have any annoying ones? I don't know any annoying Newcastle fans, Ash.
I do.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I most definitely do.
Sam is not funny. Sam says maybe he'll go to Ireland. Maybe he won't. Maybe I'll be at the airport pushing the plane back off the tarmac with my superhuman strength. But Ash, never mind the title race, okay? Because it's going to be misery. It's not any of us winning it, okay? So maybe it'll be Wills, but it's none of the rest of us, okay? And Sachin says, United fans have been in hibernation for 15 years. Let them sleep. I would just like to let you know, Sachin, I have been this loud all of my life, including the last 15 years. And Flossie says, I can think of one. Okay, so you guys have somebody specific in mind. Fair enough. But before, actually, sorry, you were nearly out of it. Ash, I shared this yesterday, and I feel like you should see it. Wills, just close your eyes for just a moment. This is going to be quick, I promise. But you have to see this, right? Let me share the right tab.
Oh my. AI is actually crazy. Some of the stuff that's came out of AI this season has been absolutely nuts.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Honestly. It's really funny. Sorry. Okay. Oh, there's sound. I was just trying to stop it. Ash, genuinely, that like I found that the other day, and I just keep every so often, like I just click into it and watch it. It's really doing me in though. And then Albo, who's an Arsenal fan, was here yesterday, and I played it. And he was, he said, Arteta in the mud. And he's an Arsenal fan.
Well, really I think the Arteta outers are loving it.
Do you know what I'm going to do? Gary, somebody remind me at the end of the stream, I'll put the link for that video in the description so everybody can enjoy it because it's really funny. Wills, I do remember the race meme because it was actually when we had Eric Ten Hag and his little head was on it, his little egg head because he's bald. It looked like do you know the generated horse races? But it was like the managers racing for the title, but it was a meme. Oh, yeah. That one was hysterical. That was a good one, Wills. That one had like all this stuff. I don't care who it is. It's not that it's Arsenal or anybody else. Stuff like that just really tickles me. I have a really silly sense of humor. It's very good though. It's very funny. But let me see. What else? This was the only other thing I want to share. And actually, maybe Wills will be able to tell us how he feels about this. Because I found this by accident. Actually, do you remember when just before we started the stream, I hadn't seen this when I was telling you what we were going to talk about, because it was when I was looking for the next thing I'm going to show you that I found this. But Mikel Arteta has called for Arsenal fans to love me after I draw and I lose, and not just when the side is winning. The Premier League leaders have drawn successive Premier League matches against Brentford and Wolves and have won just 2 out of their last 7 league games, which is obviously terrible. But I just want to go back to love me after I draw and I lose, not just when the side is winning. I understand what he's trying to say, but sometimes the way they say things really is funny. Wills, do you love Arteta even when you lose? That's the question I want to know the answer to.
The issue with this, I don't think it's about them loving him after he draws and loses. I think they're just shitting themselves that they're not going to win the title.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to. Like, if they were like 30 wins and they get a loss, not a single loss, no fan's going to be pissed.
No.
They might be a bit upset about getting the loss, but yeah.
And that's, look, Wills is fair. In all honesty, I was. And that's true because a lot of yous were like backing him. But the draws and losses are getting way too frequent. And I think that's very fair because actually a lot of people after Brentford, Arsenal fans and rivals, were like, do you know what? Brentford are doing really well at the minute. They're on a high. They're on a streak. They're a really good team. They're a team in form. That was potentially a good point.
Yeah.
The Wolves won. The fact that they've won 2 of 7. 2 of 7. That's not good. And I think that's when you start to, and I think everybody has a breaking point. Even if you back the manager and you back the team and you're really positive, there is a point where you go, oh, for God's sake. There is that point. Do you have a point? Like a tipping point? Because you're quite calm. I'm very emotional. You're quite calm. I'd have lost the plot with this book like 3 years ago.
Like I said, I think it all depends on expectation, doesn't it? Like I said, as a Newcastle fan, I don't want Eddie Howe out, even though that he's done worse this season than potentially what he should have done. Granted, I don't think it's necessarily his fault, but I think it all depends on fans' expectations. The expectations of Arteta, he's been there for six coming up to 7 years. His expectation is to win the Premier League, to win, because otherwise, what's he doing there? He's just been spending all this money building a squad and not winning anything apart from the FA Cup, which he won in his first year of being there. So he needs to show something for all the money he spent. So yeah, expectation derives how people feel about wins and losses. So yeah, he's on his fine line, in my opinion. Like if this was Newcastle and Eddie Howe spent all this money and we're 6-7 years into a project and we're in the state they are, I can understand why Arsenal fans be feeling the way they are, because there is an expectation to win the Premier League at this point, especially when they're in such a commanding position.
I also think it's more disappointing. Like, say Will's here, like when you've been backing him and backing him and backing him and backing him, and then he falls short. You feel that he's let you down. So Will says, like, I've been backing Arteta for years now, but this is what he's been working towards and is starting to make small mistakes that are making the difference for the worse. And I think a lot of fans have said, you know, he wasn't backed, he didn't have a striker, he didn't have this, he didn't have all the tools, etc., etc., etc. And I think this is the first season where everybody has sort of said, right, he's got his striker, he's got what he needs. Now, the one thing I will say is that he didn't get the striker he wanted. He wanted Sesko and he was given Gyökeres, and their styles are very different. My thing is, one player doesn't...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, at the end of the day, they could have had Sesko and he could have performed exactly how Gyökeres is performing. Yeah. So the issue is Arteta's squad is absolutely massive and the depth is huge. Like, there is not a weak point, I would say, in Arsenal's team. They have backup to every single position. Granted, I will say they laughed and said they didn't want Anthony Gordon on the left. Well, who's laughing now? So, yeah, I think they could have potentially recruited some slightly different players. The shout Billy put there, Ekatike. I agree. I think Ekatike kind of elevates every squad in the Premier League.
He's bloody good too.
Yeah, the likes of Mark Gahey or Semenyo, those players, if they went, they would have elevated as well. But yeah, he's the amount of money that has been spent and how deep the squad is. He needs to win. He needs to. If he doesn't, because at the end of the day, you think at this point, if he doesn't win something with the level of squad that he has, he's never going to win anything because it's crazy the depth of it. Without, I mean, granted, like I said, you could argue some positions they could improve on, but you're talking minute positions here. Like all teams that win.
It shouldn't mean the difference in winning the league and not.
Yeah, it's like you could boil down, like say, the Man City treble winning squad. You could probably talk about a certain position there that you think they could improve on, but it's all just about how they go. And they just need to win, and I do think they're going to win. I do think they'll probably win one or elite or two trophies. I do think they're going to win one at least. But yeah, I think he's looking like he could potentially be gone. He'll be gone in my opinion if he does not win the Prem this season.
I think so too, to be fair. But we do have our Jay in the house, and we haven't seen Jay in a little while, so welcome back. Billy is also in the house. Nice to see you, Billy. Jay's mum. Sorry I haven't been about. My mum's been in hospital. Oh, Jay, well, I hope your mum's feeling better. Lots of love from all of us, bless her. Hope she's taking care and she's feeling much better now. And it is nice to have you back. So take care of yourself and of her. I hate that. Do you know when you hear sad things about, like, obviously it's sad when it happens to anybody, when it's people you know. Like, well, send her lots of love and hugs from us, well wishes and everything. Winnie is also in the house, and he is saying, Wills, if you bottle it from here, I'll buy you a cookie to cheer you up. Wills has requested a glass of milk to go with his cookie. I think Arsenal fans might be turning off social media. And yeah, Mama Flossie just saying send her our best wishes, 100%. Winnie says their midfield and defence has great depth in numbers and quality, but in attack they got numbers, but I don't think they're any good apart from 1 to 2 players. And I think that's a great point, because I do think that actually that's 100% correct. I think for all of their depth, they lack it in the attacking area. That much, 100% I agree with.
Yeah, when they're fit, I mean, the be able to swap around Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Gyökeres, I think that's a pretty good striking option. And then
Havertz
obviously
needs to stay fit.
You see, that's what I'm saying. Is if they're fit, they're good options. Behind them, obviously, if fit, Odegaard, Eze, even Marino. Obviously, Mikel Marino can play as a bit more of a 10 or as a 9. So they have depth. It's just, like I said, they can't have world beaters in every position. It's just not possible with financial fair play. But they've got the best they could possibly have, in my opinion.
The Marino does have mixed reviews from the Arsenal fans, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but the issue is, would you say Mikel Marino is a starter or even a second pick to most positions? No. I wouldn't say he's even a second pick for most positions. So when you think about Mikel Marino being like a third choice, third or fourth choice, that's a very good third or fourth choice.
Yeah, so that's true. 100%, that's true.
Like when he's going to Spain and scoring like 4 goals and stuff like that, that says everything you need to know. It's like a third or fourth choice pick.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100%. Flossie, we have 384 teacups. 384 teacup subscribers. Woohoo! What else? Let me see. Right. Okay. I think that's enough title talk, because I've had enough of them. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're not in it, so it's not exciting. That's it. Done with them. Now, we are going to talk about the rest of the table, the rest of the fights and all. But I discovered this by accident. And honestly, right, I think Glasner has to be the mentalist manager in the whole Premier League, because every single time I see one of his interviews, they're getting more and more unhinged, okay? So while this is not, Wills, correct and right. That's enough. We're moving on. You're going to actually enjoy this, Wills, because this guy is unhinged. He's going to make your manager look completely normal. Listen to this, because honestly, I don't think I can actually do it justice trying to explain it. So just give it a listen.
Do you still want to be here until the end of the season?
Oh, let's see what the future brings. Not in the best moment right now, and to be honest, like now, and I understand. I take responsibility for everything because I'm responsible. I'm just not good enough to replace the players we sold. I'm just not good enough to integrate the new players in a way that we can play the same way like we did. And I'm not good enough that we can cope with the schedule. I was good enough to have to play the best season ever, to win 2 trophies. And we have now 32 points after 26 games. And I looked back because I like to look back sometimes. In the last 10 years, Crystal Palace has been better twice. So it looks like we are even now where everybody is completely angry, disappointed, frustrated. We are playing a better Premier League season than 8 of the last 10 seasons Crystal Palace has played. We're playing European football. And that's also the other reality.
He sounds a little bit miffed, Ash.
Do you still want to be here?
Oh, pause that. But I mean,
I'm sorry, but what?
Jeez, his head's gone. Sachin, head's gone. Flossie, he wants the sack. And Wills is suggesting he could be the next Spurs coach. Don't let Gary and who else was in here? Shem. Gary and Shem will get you for saying that, Wills.
I'm so confused. He's like, that whole interview. He just did like a 180 in the middle of the interview, saying that he's not a good enough coach. But then suddenly, last year, I did the best ever Crystal Palace season. What is this bro doing? Like, this man, that was like a flipping merry-go-round. I don't even know what the hell I just listened to. Like,
I wonder, maybe, when he was saying, well, I'm not good enough for this and I'm not good enough for that. Do you know what it sounded like? And I'm not being funny. Do you know when somebody tells you off for something and you get real snippy and you get real like, well, I'll just do this and I'll just do that. And you get a little bit sarcastic and you get a little bit smart and like, oh, well, if I don't cook good enough, you can just cook your own dinner every day, even though I'm the best cook in the house. That's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah,
I
very
actually
much.
feel like maybe somebody internal, or maybe he's mad at the media, but whoever it is that has said he's not good enough and he can't do it, he sounded like somebody said this and he is absolutely not. And there you go. Maybe Flossie's intuition is exactly the same as mine. So maybe it's something we're picking up with our feminine senses. Is he saying he's not good enough? Or is he saying, I've been told I'm not good enough? And I reckon somebody has told him he's not good enough. And his response to that is, oh, well, I'm not good enough, even though I did this. I'm not good enough, even though I did that. And by the way, I'm still better than most of the people you've ever had. So I love it. I just love the unhinged nature of it. I love it. It's excellent, Ash.
He just wants out. He really does. It is the weirdest thing I've seen probably in the Premier League for a very, very long time. I have never seen a manager want to be gone out of a club so bad, vocally online, to in like every single interview. And every single person knows this. Everyone knows he's leaving at the end of the window, and they're still going on. Like, I don't know. Steve Parish needs to do something about this because I don't understand how you can own a club and not give a shit.
I think it's money. I think he wants the money and they don't have the money to give him. Because, like you said, everybody knows he's gone at the end of the season, but he won't get a payout. He wants a payout. Everyone else is getting a payout. So I think Steve Parish is like, have a tantrum, but I'm not paying you. I think it's a power struggle, and I think he is determined to be sacked before the summer and get a payout. And I think Steve Parish is like, don't think so, mate.
It just makes me so sorry for like Crystal Palace fans, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I would, this would be the most sad thing if this happened to anyone's club.
Yeah.
Because it's not helping anyone. The players are going to be seeing this and be thinking, what the fuck is going on? Be wanting out of the club, to be honest, even though it's down to Glasner, to be honest. But it does make you wonder, like, do people actually want him then at my club if they know that this is what he's going to be like? Like, it doesn't put him in a good
stead. And that's the problem. I think he's damaging himself now.
Yeah,
but
he really is.
If he doesn't want to stay in the Premier League, it won't matter. Maybe, because we've all been sort of saying, well, who will take him? Maybe he just doesn't want to stay here. Maybe he's like, you know, when you go and you have a bad experience somewhere, you don't want to go back. You're like, well, that's it. I'm done with this place anyway. I'm leaving. Now, Sachin is saying, honestly, if Spurs change their transfer approach and give him freedom, he will thrive there. He is very good and achieved great things at Frankfurt. What I will say is I looked into him and Areola, and there's actually a video on the channel from right at the start of the season, the first time we were talking about Sak and Amram in the international break, and I went and I looked at both of their careers to date. He is very accomplished. He was actually the sporting director or director of football while he was the manager at one of his previous clubs. It may have actually been at Frankfurt. He was, I'm pretty sure, was it the director of football? He was in charge. He was the boss. He was not only the manager, he was in charge of everything. And I actually think that might be part of his problem at the moment. He has little to no control at Crystal Palace. He doesn't agree with the approach they're taking. They won't give him the players he wants. He has no say in the players being sold. He's come out and told us that. He's being told the day before matches that some of his best players are being sold. He has no say whatsoever, which I don't think any of us would like. But if you've gone from having a real control power role to that, the drastic difference, I can empathize with his frustration 100%. And coming into this role, Sachin's correct. He was very accomplished, very, very accomplished, but he also held a lot of power and control. I think he's struggling with the fact that he doesn't have any control. However, I absolutely think he's damaging his own brand the more that he talks like this. I mean, if you are the ownership of Spurs, you're not going to want to hire this. United, we're never hiring that. We couldn't deal with that. Absolutely no chance. Jay is saying, is he the manager? He doesn't sound like it. And Gary, who is a Spurs fan, said I would have had him over Thomas Frank. Do you know what I mean? We covered what Flossie said there. Sachin saying it's his Austrian humour. He openly stated the board is ambitionless and does not back him. And we played, that was the last video we played of him there as well. We have NSS Sports TV is in the house. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for being here. We have a few Chelsea heads in the house. I think Kai might have sent them. Behind the dugouts might have sent some of the Chelsea recruits in to make sure we're not saying anything bad about them. But let me see. Marv is saying Crystal Palace is going to be in serious trouble, losing Guehi, Mateta, and next Wharton, and obviously Glasner now as well. Sachin is saying he wants to go back home. His family still lives in Germany. See, that's it. I think the reason he's so comfortable saying this is because he actually has no intention of staying in England. I don't think he wants to be rehired in England. And if he goes home, they're not going to care about what he said in England. They're probably going to agree with him. Do you know what I mean? Be like, oh, them lot over there.
It's a possibility.
I think the more he talks, the more I'm like, yeah, that has to be it. Marv is obviously sending well wishes to Jay's mum. And yeah, losing Guehi really gutted that team. Now more losses are coming. He was really mad about that. But he came out and he said like he found out about that like the day before. And it was the same with the one that went in the summer. Was Eze came from Palace, wasn't it?
Eze did, yeah.
Yeah. So he said he found out about the Eze move the day before a match. He was told the day before a match as he's going. That was it. And Sachin is saying, people have no idea how accomplished Glasner is. Winning a European tournament with Frankfurt is a big achievement. Well, Sachin, anyone that watched my video in the international break does know how accomplished he is. But the rest of YouTube, no idea. And there is our favourite, other than Will's, Arsenal fan. Wills, you've got back up now. Hi, Albo. How is everyone? To be honest, and to be fair to Glasner, I think he's got a point that if a club keeps continuing to be a selling club, then you'll expect the same every season of being mid-table. Albo is back with a bang. Welcome back. The Wills is saying the Palace board has really messed up. I agree with all of that. I think the board have messed up. I think the club is being run badly. I think what he has said is absolutely correct. I don't think he cares about staying in England. All of that stands. However, I think just as a professional, I just think as like pride in yourself and your work, to come out and say stuff like this is insane. And if this was my manager, I'd be losing the plot. Amram did stuff like this. Amram came out 3 separate times and said, well, if you don't want me here, I'll just leave. If they don't want me here, I'll quit. I don't mind, I'll leave. And I just thought, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, you crying, whingy baby. And I know to say it in my club, but it really annoyed me. I was like, you are the leader. Get it together. Sort it out. So for me, while I can empathise completely with Glasner, and while I know he wants the payout, he's doing it on purpose so that it becomes untenable and they have to sack him. I also think, shut up. Just shut up, because it's the fans that you're damaging. It's not, Steve Parish doesn't care. It's the fans. And that gets me. I just think it's not right.
Yeah.
I talked myself into a bit of a hype there accidentally. I didn't mean to. It wasn't the plan. Speaking of trouble off the pitch for teams, Ash, I love how you're always like apprehensive. You're like, what is she going to click next? People, can we just give a shout out to Ash for tolerating me literally every week? Ash comes on to this show of his own free will, completely just as a favour to me, with no benefit whatsoever to him, and he tolerates my nonsense without ever knowing what I'm going to say. And he just styles it out every single week for several hours. No matter what I throw at him, he just keeps it together and keeps on going. And I just don't think we appreciate him enough for what he does, because honestly, I never know what I'm going to say. So Ash really doesn't. So I do think we have to give our Ash a shout out. Albo, it was a flying stop for Albo. Oh, you're not feeling well today, Albo. Well, listen, thank you for coming and saying hi. We did tell Wills that you might be here to have a bit of backup, but he can hold the fort. He can do it for one night. You did it last night, but mind yourself and do feel better soon. Hopefully, I mean, for you, hopefully your team will cheer you up, not for me. But yeah, fair play to Ash. And Wills is saying Ash is the bravest man I know. To be fair, I don't know anyone else who would come on a stream every single week, not knowing what any of the topics are ever. So I think you do pretty good. But off the field drama, Spurs. Obviously, we're going to Spurs. Dave Boy says, Lou versus Ash. If it was a football match, 95% possession for Lou. Well done. Is he trying to say I talk 95% of the time? Is that what Dave Boy is saying?
Can't be it, Lou. Can't be it.
Can't be it, Ash. I mean, I do my best. Sometimes I have to sit like this. You'll see me sitting like this. And it's me reminding myself not to be really rude, because I don't mean to. I get excited. You say something and I think it's a great point, and then I immediately need to tell you I think it's a great point instead of letting you finish it, and I don't realize I do it. But
talking isn't rudely.
Well, when someone else is already doing it, it's slightly rude. Marv says Ash balances the Delulu. He does indeed. But what is Delulu is what's happening at Spurs. Okay. So this is from, oh, sorry, I have to move the arthritis. I'm old, my knees hurt. The Spurs Express says, one of Tottenham's long-standing key sponsors has already notified the club that their partnership will cease in the summer, with others deliberating whether or not to follow. Reasons for this include the club have failed to present a clear roadmap or reassurances of how they plan to improve domestic performances and results. The club's inability to sign the best players. Clients have been left unimpressed by the number of empty seats inside the Tottenham Stadium for big games and the anger of fans. Side note, sponsors notice when fans are angry. Asterisks. Many sponsors have been dismayed by the lack of communication from the very top of the club since Levy's departure, with many yet to be introduced to Vinay and the Lewis family. It's not great. It's not great at all. Gary says he agrees with these points. So when your fans are agreeing with the sponsors who are ditching you, it's not great, Ash.
It is slightly worrying, to be honest. But does it surprise me? Does it surprise anyone? I don't think so. Like, I feel like Spurs has kind of been going on a bit of a backwards trajectory for a little while now, haven't they? Like, obviously, to be fair, I thought them getting rid of Daniel Levy was probably one of the best things they could have done. I thought that maybe they might show some ambition now. However, it's not looking like that at all.
They're making Daniel Levy look quite good. The sponsors are saying, well, at least he talked to us. At least he told us what was happening.
It's very weird, because you would have thought they definitely have the money to buy a lot of players, because they always held out money and got a lot of money for the sales. It's a very strange situation that Spurs is in at the moment. And it's, to be honest, it's only self-inflicted. The fact they let Thomas Frank stay as long as they did, which caused so much discomfort within the fan base, that was on them. But yeah, sponsors to any club have the right to back out and stop carrying on if they're not seeing the worth of the money they're spending. Because at the end of the day, sponsorships, like, they spend a lot of money on clubs to allow them to be a visual asset, and if you're not having people in the stadium, then you're not getting your money's worth. So
the more eyes, you're paying for the eyeballs. If the eyeballs aren't there, you're not getting what you're paying for. And Dave Boy has reminded us of the Spurs motto: to do is to dare. Unbelievable. Gary says, but we now have no one on the board who knows about football. And I understand your pain. We went through long years of our board being run by businessmen and no football men. I can completely relate to this, and it's so frustrating. So frustrating. I would suggest, and I'm actually going to bring up Winnie's point here. Winnie says Spurs' biggest game this season is on Sunday. Can stop Arsenal winning the title and helps them escape relegation. So if they can beat their rival, their biggest rival, they get one up on their rival, it really damages them in the title race, and it helps them get out of relegation, away from the relegation a little bit. So it's threefold. I agree, it's absolutely their biggest game of the season. I also think the timing, the timing of this weekend couldn't have been written. It's incredible. Incredible. So Arsenal need it for the title. Spurs need it to get away from relegation. It's just after Arsenal draw to Wolves. It's the first match of Tudor, their new crisis coach. It's incredible. I love it. Do you think that the sponsors are pulling out because they believe it's likely Spurs are going to be relegated and they want to get out before the relegation. They don't want to be associated with it at all.
Yeah, very possibly. I mean, it's 2 years now they're down there at the relegation battle. It's only a matter of time before it ends up happening. And they're probably looking at this and thinking, is Igor Tudor going to be the person who's going to bring them out of that relegation? Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't have much hope. And he's not exactly a crazy manager that they're bringing in.
He does specialise in crises, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. For me, I think it just shows their ambition. Like, the fact that they're not even bothered at all about potentially getting a better manager in now. I know, granted, it can be hard, but there are managers out there they could potentially bring in. Of course, I mean, if Spurs do go down, then of course sponsors. I'm surprised that I wouldn't be surprised if they all just go.
Well, that's what it said, that one is going and the rest are still considering it. So it means the rest are definitely. But to me, it's an indication that they've done, the sponsors as businesses will have done a risk analysis before they put any more money in. That tells me that having performed an internal risk analysis, they believe there's a high chance that Spurs goes down. That's what that tells me, because before you invest any money into sponsorship, you perform a risk analysis. What's the benefit? What's the cost? Is it worth it? Etc. etc. They've run that and said no. So to me, they think they're going down.
It's very high chance.
Will says, I can't lie, it's not a good time for a North London derby. No, they've won 2-7. They've just come off back-to-back draws off Brentford, who are doing very well, and Wolves, who are currently the worst Premier League team ever. They're going in against Spurs, who are fighting for their Premier League lives and who are going to have a new manager bounce. And I don't know if I've just talked myself into this, but when I looked into Tudor's history, he literally has built a career from going from crisis to crisis. He finds a club in crisis, he swoops in, he just steadies the ship, and then he goes to the next crisis. It's like his speciality. I'm not saying he's going to bring them way up the league, but I do. If Frank was still in charge, I would say Arsenal were going to win this 100%. I wouldn't have even questioned it. Now I'm thinking maybe. And Billy says, Tudor is Tudor. I love it. I love it. Makes me laugh. Wills would like Newcastle to help them out, which does bring us on to the other match, because those are the two matches of the weekend. They are, let me get this back up again. These are the matches of the weekend. Put it on the screen. We'll just take that off for a little second. Get rid of Glasner. He's away. And Zoumarou. So Villa Leeds, fair enough. I think Leeds could beat Villa there. Now, we're going to do our predictor shortly, but I think Leeds could beat Villa there. I think Villa's going to drop like a stone. We're going to go to the Champions League spots in a minute. Brighton, Brentford, Chelsea, Burnley, that's fine. This is going to be interesting. But the two matches off the weekend that are going to really, I think, have a massive impact on the title, and the fact that they're both the same weekend is fantastic as well. Spurs and Arsenal, which we've obviously just spoken about. Man City, Newcastle. That's the other match. What do you reckon, Ash? Obviously, we will do the score predictions in a minute, but what do you reckon just in terms of the match itself?
The thing is, because it's away at the Etihad for us, it's going to be a much more difficult game. I do think we have a chance because, like I said, we've massively improved our away record right now. I would still think Man City probably edges it over us. But again, it's not crazy to think about that we'll go and beat them. But the ball is in their court, like I said. I don't know. Like it says there, we did travel 6,000 miles or whatever to Baku and back.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a fair way to go. But to be fair, Newcastle are going to be in a lot of confidence, and after the game, they just smashed 6-1 past the Champions League team. They're going to have a lot of confidence in themselves. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we do get a result, but I could also see us losing. It's
I think that's what makes it exciting. So like I do a match predictor game every week with like there's a group of us to do it. And honestly, it's so hard. It's so hard to predict some of these matches because as you say, if you told me you were from the future and Newcastle win, I would say okay, I believe you. If you were from the future and you told me okay, City win, I'd be like okay, I believe you. They're both equally believable. And I think that's what makes it exciting. We genuinely don't know. Marv, I understand. I couldn't understand what Wills was saying. Marv has said, I called the Wolves Gunners draw. And he did. He called a score draw in the live preview, literally just before the match kicked off. He is now saying 3-2 Spurs. So, Marv, remember that one for when we're doing the score prediction very, very soon. But Wills is a little unimpressed with that comment. But back to you guys. This is not the old City. It's not. It's really not. It's very hard. What is the difference? Let's put this back up. What is the difference for you guys if you win? So, like with Arsenal, Spurs, there's a lot on the line for both teams.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot on the line for us. Like it'll push us up to 8th, 1 point off Brentford, 3 points off Liverpool. Like we need to be able to push for European spots.
That's what I was going to say. For you to even be really staying in contention for European spots.
I mean, it'll be a massive bonus because it probably isn't in our plan to win this game. Like we've got other beatable fixtures to the end of the season, but we definitely, like in my eyes, we do need to at least get a draw out of this game. Which, to be fair, if we get a draw out of the game, that will be big for Arsenal.
Yeah,
at least.
It would. It would. You really, I know you're saying a draw. You would probably, obviously, it would get you another point, but really, is probably could do with a win. To be honest,
yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't see a draw. I think it's either going to be a win or a loss. I don't see it being a draw at all. But
because that was the one thing I didn't know, like what was on the line for you guys, but it actually really could be the difference between European football or not for you, like 100%.
Yeah. To Marv's comment, Man City's at home.
Marv. Oh, there, I see him. Yeah. So City is at home. City is at home. Dave Boy is here making friends with Will.
So, I will say for this, we will be playing our first team. So we have Carrier Bag at home next week, which if we basically drew or lost or only beat them by 1 goal the other day, then I think I would have been more worried about this game. I would have said a guaranteed loss. Yeah. But because we're probably going to rest players against Karabag, we're going to have a full strength lineup for this game. We will be on it. We'll be full of confidence.
Yeah,
it's like I said. It could go either way. I don't think. I'm convinced it's not a draw though.
Marv reckons because it's at the Etihad, it's going to be tough, and that you might get a draw. So the one thing you think won't happen is the one thing Marv is suggesting might. But again, it just brings it back to nobody knows. I'm looking at the chat between the Arsenal match and this match. Nobody really knows. Sachin is saying, yous normally don't do well at the Etihad. Is that a thing?
Yeah, in the Premier League and stuff, and just in general, we most definitely don't. If I give you a stat, you probably will not like to hear what it is from 2010.
Oh dear.
There has never been a draw. There's been 17 games at the Etihad. Never been a draw. We won once, and City's won 16 times.
That's not great. That's actually very horrendously bad.
But the problem is with stats like that, I always think it's very misconstrued because I think it's very misconstrued because it doesn't take into account recency and where the team was, because that goes under like Mike Ashley and everything. It's not ideal.
Well, that's your last 1-4 in the Premier League at City. Hold on,
Yeah.
So this is just the Premier League.
Yeah, if you scroll down, you can do different pages, I think.
Yeah, if I untick this competition, it shows you all. Oh, it shows that's all competitions then. So I was only showing the Premier League, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to go to like 20 pages. But these are all just at the Etihad.
Yeah. Like I said, at the Etihad, we are currently just in the Premier League. Since 2010, we are 14. Man City have won 14 times. We've drawn nothing and won nothing.
While I think, if you look at all of it, it sounds really, really bad. I often, when I look at this, I look at like the more recent ones because the teams are more similar. But even if you look at your recent ones, like use our last match.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's away at Man City. Away at Man City is slightly worrying. At St James's Park, it's different. Obviously, we actually beat them at home this season already. In the Premier League, we beat them 2-1. So I don't think it's massively different. But I think away, like I said, we haven't been too great. Granted, we're in better form now. Like I said, I think it could go either way. I don't think
I do. Yeah, I do think it could go either way.
Stats look worse than what sometimes they should do.
Dave Boy has told this joke twice. So I'm going to read it out this time so he feels like he's being acknowledged, because he said they're not even a carrier bag, they're a discount bag. And so he has now said discount bag or a good away team. Save your best players for that. Wills is questioning Newcastle only got 1 win in 5-2. I was talking about are you talking about all competitions? I assume you're just looking at Newcastle's record at the minute. No?
I was
your form.
I'm presuming he's on about the last 5 games. In
the Premier League.
Yeah, but like I said, you need to look at the most recent games because we've actually just won 3 on the bounce. But that's all comps. That's just the Prem.
But
whereas we've just won Spurs away, Aston Villa away, and then Karabag away. That's 3 decent level teams. Spurs probably the worst of the 3, which is weird to say. So yeah, it's not as bad.
Does have a good point, because actually, I have a thing. You're not going to like this one, but I do have a thing. I hope I still have it. Do I still have it? Have I lost it? Where is it gone? Good God, I have so many things. I have to stop saving them all. Let me see. Not that one. I'm close. I nearly have it. This is the one. Share this. Can you see that? Excellent. Okay, let me take this down. So this is based from what Sachin is saying. I do not trust Newcastle without Bruno G, home or away. Keith Downey, one of your favourites. Bruno Guimaraes has been ruled out for 6 to 8 weeks with a hamstring tear. The Newcastle captain sustained the injury against Spurs on Tuesday and is set to miss the next 10 games. A scan on Wednesday revealed the extent of the injury. They're hopeful he'll be back to But don't replay that or they'll bloody ban me again. But here, these are your current injuries. Does that look right? Is it missing anybody specific?
No, I think that's about right.
That is a pretty extensive injury list. And they're bloody Lewis Miley. And he's been fantastic. Like, this is a serious list. They're all important players, except who's this guy?
Emil Kraft. We bought him as kind of like a backup centre back. We bought him ages ago. He's an okay squad player, but I'm not He's not.
Basically, everyone except him then. So we'll say he's a backup anyway. Everybody else on this list is really important.
Yeah, we've got backup in positions for the players, so I'm not terribly fussed.
Oh, really? I'd be stressing because they're all important. Like, I don't think we have enough backup. If we lost that many key players, I think we'd be having
the last 2 games, that whole list right there.
Yeah.
Basically, they weren't playing in the last 2 games, more or less.
Yeah.
That we won in the away games. It just is what it is. Sven Botman's permanently off. He's doubtful. There is a chance he could still play, but
there are some players that I mean, Jesus, look at us with Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. Do you know what I mean? I know Luke Shaw is the miracle man this season, but in general, like, he's just injury prone. There are just some players like that, aren't there?
Oh yeah, Joe Linton. I didn't see that. Joe Linton's back. He's fit.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's good.
He's available.
Do you know what is important though? Because we're getting very close to talking about the fixtures this season. So, something else that is important. Obviously, injuries are important. They play a factor. They can make a difference in the outcome of the match. Do you know what else, Ash, can make a difference in the outcome of the match?
What's that, Lou?
Ash is like, what now? The referee.
I thought you were going to say the weather.
No, we're not quite there yet.
Oh,
the
God,
referee.
Don't do this to me.
No. On this occasion, I'm bringing you good news. It's not going to be Chris Kavanagh.
Oh, thank God.
So, The Athletic has reported, and this is done by Colin Miller and PJ Buckingham, referee Chris Kavanagh and his assistant. So, when I did that video, and I was giving out, and I kept saying that it wasn't just Chris Kavanagh. Whoever that assistant was on that side was woeful and actually worse than Chris Kavanagh. And he was closer than Chris Kavanagh for 2 of the incidents, and he didn't say a word. The one who should have done the offside and the one who was closest to the penalty that was given as a free kick, his name is Nick Greenhalgh. How do I say that, Ash? Greenhalgh?
Greenhalgh.
Okay. Well, Nick. So Chris and Nick. So this boy, I'm glad we found out his name, because while Chris Kavanagh had an appalling game, this guy, Nick, was woeful.
He also did
really bad.
It wasn't just the penalty, obviously, it was the goal as well. The offside goal.
It was the same guy on the same side for both of them. He was brutal. But so that guy was Nick Greenhalgh, who officiated Saturday's FA Cup 4th round tie between Aston Villa and Newcastle, will not feature in the Premier League this weekend. Neither Chris nor Nick will be present for roll call. The match, which Newcastle won 3-1, was littered with contentious decisions in the absence of VAR. Officials are selected for matches by the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, PGMOL, based on multiple factors, including with post-match performance assessments conducted by an independent key match incidents panel. So these key match incidents, these are the guys who decide how many of these have been wrong. So when we say like a team has had X amount of decisions incorrectly given against them, this panel are the ones who decide that. So they have decided in the course of their assessment that maybe this factor has decided that Chris and Nick will not be present. Look at the face. Look at the face.
Yeah. Feels like he smelled a bad fart.
Doesn't it? He looks disgusted. He's raging. But this, I thought, would be music to everybody's ears.
I think for the sake of football, this man needs to have some training, especially the linesman. It was absolutely horrific. One of the worst set of decisions I've seen in a very, very long time.
I actually think ever, Ash. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen a free kick, a penalty given for a penalty. And I mean, it wasn't on the line.
No, it was crazy.
This far.
I know. Even even the offside goal, it was like miles offside. There was multiple penalties that probably should have been given. Obviously, there was the red card that they should have had on Luca Dean, which then also ended up handballing the ball in the box, and still
terrible.
It was absolutely shocking. And like I said, my emotions completely went out of that game. I've never been so, I don't know, like you get to a point where like you're just so done with decisions that you just accept it at that point. And that's kind of how I became halfway through that game. I was like, this is the most pile of bullshit I've ever seen. And I could have just seen that we weren't going to win the game because of it all. But somehow we got lucky enough to win it. So thank God for that, at least.
Won, Ash, because it would have been horrendous. Just before we go any further, Jay is heading off. Jay, take care of yourself, take care of your mommy, and I have starred your score prediction. So when we do those now very, very shortly, we will include your score prediction for that. But do take care of yourself and your mommy. And thank you for jumping in. It's lovely to see you, and hopefully she'll be feeling better soon. But I just wanted to catch Jay before he left because, you know, you jump off then, so I didn't want to miss him before he left. But Ash, back to this, because honestly I keep distracting myself. I forgot all about Chris Kavanagh, and then I saw it when I was looking for something else. So how I find everything is I'm looking for one thing, I find something else, and I'm like, oh, I think, see if reincarnation exists, I think I was a magpie. Because they get distracted easily by shiny things. And that's what I see something and I'm like, oh, I think I was definitely a magpie in a former life, if that's real. Just throwing that out there. But Ash, tell me, because it's 9:20. We have been here for an hour and 45 minutes. We've done quite a bit of waffle, quite a bit of good talk and quite a bit of waffle. We need to do our predictions. But before game week predictions, who do you reckon is going to be in the top 5? So we know 1-2 is highly likely City, Arsenal, City. 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, for the end of this week or for the end of the season?
For the end of the season.
Ooh. Personally,
boom.
I still think it's a top 3 the way it is at the moment.
Okay.
So I still think it's going to be Man City, Arsenal, Villa.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be Man United and Liverpool. And then I think below that is going to be Chelsea and then Newcastle.
Okay.
So I don't think, I think that the top 4 is going to still be in the top 5. Mm-hmm. Then I think Liverpool's going to go above Chelsea. Yeah. And Chelsea's going to drop down, basically. That's kind of how I see it.
Okay. Wills is saying he reckons Villa is going to drop out, which would leave Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea, Liverpool. So not a million miles off what you're saying. I reckon Villa's going to drop out. And I reckon it's going to be Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea. I think Brentford's going to leapfrog Liverpool.
The reason why I said I don't think Villa is getting knocked down, I think they actually have the easiest set of fixtures out of everyone there.
Yeah, but they've really fallen off a cliff. Now look, it's all guesswork. None of us know. It's all a prediction. So I reckon it's going to be Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea, and Brentford. I think Brentford is going to overtake Liverpool. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I look, you have to have a bit of fun.
No, of course.
I said Arsenal first. To be fair, Wills, I said Arsenal earlier as well. You were that busy moping you didn't hear me saying I still think yous are going to win the league. Dave Boy says United 5th, and if Spurs or Newcastle win Champions League, who gets the 5th spot? Oh yeah, because if you win the Champions League, you would get the spot automatically. I think it just goes down one, does it not?
It does.
Why do you look like you've just discovered fire?
I just think it's a crazy thing to read Spurs or Newcastle winning the Champions League in a comment. Like, do you not find that's like absolutely baffling? Like reading that.
Ash, I've just said Brentford is going to be in the Champions League next year, and United is going to leapfrog Villa, even though they're 5 points ahead of us. We're just, I mean, Dave Boy's a United fan as well. Maybe we've all just lost the plot. Maybe it's just United fans in general have absolutely lost it. We don't know what's going on, and we're saying all sorts of mad stuff, and we all just think it's normal.
Look, if Newcastle or Spurs win the Champions League, I don't. If we win the Champions League, I don't know what I'd do.
Just for Sachin, are we sure that England gets 5 slots this season as well? Yeah, 100%. The thing for that come out, was it last week or the week before? The coefficient. The coefficient. That's the word. I couldn't think of it. So yes, that absolutely 100%. England get the 5 slots. Marv is jet lagged. He has done a lot of traveling today. He is going to bed this evening. He has left some score predictions for us. We'll lock them in for him. Sachin says he reckons Villa have 3rd locked in, and they did reinforce in January, and obviously they are 5 points. There is a little bit of a gap there. Like, so if you look at 4th down to really kind of 7th, there's a very small gap. There is a big gap between obviously Villa and us. As you say, Villa don't have super hard figures. I'm not saying Villa will absolutely 100% definitely drop down. I'm saying if we're having a bit of a guess with it, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's a terrible guess.
I don't think it's that bad.
Emery, see, up until I saw Emery literally pushing Yuri Tielemans after subbing him off when Yuri Tielemans tried to shake his hand. That was the moment for me where I thought this man is insane. That was the moment where I thought anything can happen. I actually understood some Arsenal fans, because up to that point, I've always said Unai Emery's a very good coach. I didn't understand all the hate he was getting, but he's definitely nuts. Wills is saying, in that crazy situation, so if you were Spurs win the Champions League, there would be 6 spots. As far as I understand, they change the rules that often, it's hard to know. I think, yes, it would go down a spot. You would get another spot. But then Wills is saying, well, what if Forest win the Europa League as well? I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I genuinely don't know. So if Forest win, so if an English team win the Europa League and the Champions League, what? Honestly, it's going to be all Premier League and the Champions League. We're going to have 2 Premier Leagues next year, basically. I don't know. Ash is going to find out for us, though, because he's in sleuth mode. So I'm going to let him look that up and find out for us. Dave Boy says he has money on Newcastle winning the Champions League. So Dave Boy is backing you guys.
I would love nothing more than that to happen, but God, don't put that thought into my head, please.
Sachin is saying Emery is still a winner. He will get them past the line. I do think he's very competent, but I do also think that is complete and utter insanity to be shoving your own players on the side of the pitch. And I think when a manager has that kind of eccentricity or the possible erratic behavior, I think it can lead to erratic results. As I said, I'm not saying they're definitely going to fall out of it. I just think it is a possibility. And I think it's also a real possibility that Brentford leapfrogs Liverpool, because Liverpool's results, again, have been erratic this season. Dave Boy is saying that Wolves could be in the Champions League next season, maybe, the way we're going. Ash, have you got any good news for us? Does anybody know what happens in that scenario?
We actually lose a place.
What?
So the team. So basically, how it works, the team, say if Spurs or us win it,
Yeah.
Say if we have 6 spots,
Okay.
the team that goes to 6th won't get it. It will be the 5th and above. So because it's 6 spots in total,
Yeah.
but say if Newcastle's down the bottom and we win it, we
Yeah.
get that 6th spot. Basically, is how it works. Not the team that's
Okay.
in 6th. So
Oh.
there would still be 6 teams that would get it. Just it wouldn't be the team that's in 6th.
It would be whoever wins the.
Yeah.
But what if you're in the top 6 and you win it?
Yeah, so if
like if you're in 3rd and you win
it doesn't change.
So no, there's no extra spots for it.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's no fun. So it goes off the coefficient. So if we get the extra spot, it goes to that. It goes down to 5th. But if like a team that's below 5th gets wins, they get that spot anyway. It just means that the team in 5th won't have it, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Okay, that makes sense. Ash, last thing before we do our predictions. Relegation. And actually, let me close the poll because the poll said, which battle is the most interesting right now? 50% of you have said the title race, 18% have said the Champions League spots, and 32% have said the relegation battle, whoever's fighting it out for 18th. I personally fully believe the relegation battle is the most interesting right now because I think genuinely there's a number of these teams that could go down. And as we've talked about, these matches are so important. Who do you think is going to finish the season in 18th?
Spurs.
Ooh.
I actually think it. I genuinely think it's going to be Spurs. And that's going to be crazy.
They have a terrible run-in. They have a really tough run-in.
West Ham's got good form. Forest has good form. The team that really doesn't down there is Spurs. They've not won a game in 8 games in the Prem.
Look at their run-in though. Their run-in is.
I know the running's bad. Their previous fixtures, they've not won in 8 games. They've got a bad set of running. Forest and West Ham are in a bit of form. I actually think that there is a very high chance that it could be Spurs that get relegated, which is crazy to me. And I think, like I said, I think it's going to come down to the last game of the season for it.
If you had asked me before, I also would have said Spurs, 100%. I don't know.
Do you think the two-door?
I don't know.
Two-door cinema club.
I mean, Tudor is Tudor.
Tudor is Tudor.
Yeah.
But is Tudor Tudor?
I think he might, their running is horrendous. Their running is absolutely horrendous. I think West Ham is definitely coming out. So for me, it's between Spurs and Forest.
The thing is, Leeds aren't out of it either.
They're not. 30, 24, 6. What's Leeds' running? Because they're a bit shaky. Villa, I think they're going to beat Villa. But then City, they could beat.
I will say, I'm actually at that match.
Their run-in's okay, actually, Ash, because they've got. I think they can beat Villa. They could lose to City. I think they could beat Sunderland, who have fallen off a bit. They'll beat Crystal Palace. Brentford, that'll be interesting. Us, that'll be in. I think we'll beat them, but it'll be interesting. They'll beat Wolves. They'll beat Bournemouth, I reckon. They'll beat Burnley. Who knows what's happening at this point?
Oh my God, look at the last game.
Oh.
That is a crazy last game.
Leeds could go down literally on the last day.
Honestly,
West Ham could climb out on the last day.
That game at the end could actually decide the relegation.
That's wild. That's actually crazy.
That's actually a crazy last game.
I genuinely think West Ham are going to come out of the relegation zone, and then it could be anybody between Forest, Spurs, and Leeds. Leeds. That's not a good run in for Leeds at all.
Imagine Brighton gets pulled into it. The thing is, I feel like any team from Crystal Palace down could easily get pulled into this.
Do you know what? Brighton's a good shout. I did a video on their manager the other day. They have 1 win in their last 14 Premier League matches. They're looking at him for being sacked. He is doing horrendously.
Yeah.
Really bad. All of their fans are looking for him to be sacked. What is their run in? Because that actually might be a very good shout.
The thing is, personally, I think if Brighton loses a couple more games, I think they will get a new manager, and I think they have enough in their squad to get out of there.
They're going to play Brentford, who I think will beat them. Forest, so that'll be a battle because Forest did so well. Their first match under Vitor Pereira was brilliant. They won 3-0 in Europe. So they went off to a good start.
Wow.
And their new manager, Vitor Pereira, worked with Marinakis in Europe. They won a European competition together.
Their fixture list is looking
bad,
Arsenal,
actually. Sunderland, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, you guys. Oh, they're frigged. Look at this. I think Brighton, actually, outside shout, I reckon Brighton's going down because that
bloody
is
hell
horrendous.
I honestly, I think if you put in all these names of the teams in a hat, you could just pick one out and it could be right. I'm so confused who's going to actually get relegated now.
I think a huge amount is going to come down to how Tudor.
Yeah, that's the thing is no one really knows.
Because a lot of these teams are going to play them.
Yeah. That's why, for me, I say Spurs, but that's based on how they've been. Obviously, if Igor Tudor just comes in and completely makes them play differently, then yeah, I think Spurs will be out. But then if Spurs come out, I think it brings Leeds and Brighton and maybe even Crystal Palace down into that debate.
Wills has asked for Spurs' last game of the season. It's Everton. Sorry. Yeah. Leeds. They're all playing each other.
There they are. This is the thing is they're all playing each other in the last few games.
I think West Ham come out. I think Leeds could get pulled into it, but I think overall their run is not as bad as some of the other ones, so I think they could be okay. I think Spurs, it depends how Tudor settles in. Forest are erratic, but Vitor Pereira and Marinakis have worked together before and they've won things together before. They know how each other works. They got off to a really good start. That could be a good combo, but it's erratic. But I would say, it could be, I think Brighton. I'm going with Brighton.
Yeah, it could be from that fixture list. That fixture list is not good at all for Brighton.
No, that's not good. Right, let's see what the people are saying. Yeah.
Or it could just be Glasner because he just decides to make his team lose every game because he wants out.
The man's a menace. The man is a menace. But Sachin is saying from 13 to 18, anyone will go down. Dave Boy's agreeing with you. Glasner will keep Palace up and can see his commitment and love for the club. So I take that to be sarcasm. Sachin is saying Palace did lose to Burnley. So Palace is also a shout. Sachin doesn't see Leeds getting sucked down, but Brighton and Palace are not far away. So Palace is another consideration.
I just think if Palace gets relegated after Wolves sold Strand Larsen to Palace, I don't even know what to say at that point. To sell a player to another team that gets relegated would be absolutely hilarious.
That would be dreadful. I'm convinced that's the exciting part of the table at the minute, because that is the part we really have no idea what's going to happen at all. For me, that's the most exciting thing. But Ash, this weekend is going to have a very, very, very serious impact. I think this weekend's fixtures is massive. Really massive.
Indeed.
What do you reckon? Let's get started. Villa, Leeds.
So
I've
I'm
already said I think Leeds is going to win.
so I'm actually going to be at the game for this.
Oh,
I
did you
said
tell me that already? Did I know that?
I mentioned it when we were just talking it before, but it was only about a briefing comment. So, like I said, I've got a mate who's got a season ticket for Aston Villa, and he goes with his cousin who's also got a season ticket for Aston Villa. So, if one of them doesn't, if his cousin doesn't go, he normally asks me to go with him, and I normally just say yeah. If I don't have any, like, if it doesn't clash with a Newcastle game or there's no tie or something, I don't mind. We spend some time together, and it's a nice day. Plus, it's like it's a terrace view ticket as well, so you get 2 free beers with it.
Lovely.
So
Nice.
Can't complain. So yeah, I'll be back for the Newcastle game. But personally, I think Villa's going to win the game. To be honest, I do.
Oh,
I think I think it's going to be a 2-0.
Really?
Yeah. I think Villa at home is really, really good.
Okay. I reckon Leeds. I would have said Leeds 2-1 would be my shout. But a lot of the chat, we're mixed. We are mixed.
There are some mixture.
Will says, I converted him. The relegation slap fight does look more interesting. It does. It's going to be really good.
Indeed.
Gary says 2-1 to Villa. Sachin says 2-0 to Villa. Dave Boy says 3-1 to Villa. Flossie says 2-1 to Villa. Flossie then said no, 2-1 to Leeds. And Will says 2-1 to Leeds, obviously. So we've got more Villa than Leeds, even after Flossie's conversion. So I reckon we're looking at 2-1 Villa. I would go 2-1 Leeds, just saying. Now, I reckon Brentford beat Brighton 2-0.
I was thinking 3-0.
I would go with 3-0. Hertzler is not on a good trajectory at all.
Brighton's struggling too much, and I don't think this is the game they're going to bring it back in. Brentford's looked really good recently. I would tip them for this. We've got Gary saying 1-1.
Yeah, it's interesting. I spotted that. I did spot that. Do you know what it is? I think traditionally Brighton were quite kind of like high mid off the table.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we're influenced by like without realizing, like the history or like where a club traditionally is. Do you know what I mean? Brentford this season and currently at the moment, they're on such a hot streak. Keith Andrews is doing a madness. I did a video the other day on Brentford and you know, Keith Andrews and the whole club. It was really interesting. I think they're like, it's a culmination of like so many things. And I just think it's all starting to come to fruition now. But as you say, Gary says 1-1. Dave Boy says Brentford 3-0. Sachin says Brentford 3-0. Thiago hat-trick. Wills agrees, 2 or 3-0 for me too. I reckon that means we're going with 3-0 to the Brentford. And if we're all wrong, then
that would be good for us.
Come back and laugh at us.
I hope we are wrong, because it would be good for the
Brentford to lose.
Champions. Yeah, we need Brentford to lose, but I do see them winning.
Because if I see them winning, but if they win, we're under bloody pressure. So we need them to lose. I think Chelsea's going to beat Burnley.
Yeah. Burnley is in a bit of form, but I think I just the way of the bridge as well. I think it's
that one could be like 4-1, 4-2.
Yeah.
I think that one could be a lot of goals, that one.
Yeah, I'm going to say 4-0 to Chelsea.
I would have said 4-1, I would say, would be my shout.
That's fine.
Flossie says 3-0 Chelsea.
3-0.
Gary says 3-1 Chelsea. Sachin says 3-0 Chelsea. Dave Boy says 4-1 Chelsea. Will says 1-1. Where did that come from? Gary says Burnley always score, which is kind of why I said kind of 1-2. I reckon there will be goals. Right, so we're looking at maybe 3-1, I would say. Seems to be kind of more or less the consensus there.
3-1 is.
West Ham Bournemouth.
Ooh.
This is the first one that's a little bit like not straightforward.
I'm just going to say 2-1 West Ham.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that 100%.
I'm going to say 2-1
I think that's a good
West Ham.
shout. Again, I think it could go any way. But I mean, if we're guessing, that would be my guess. That's what I would go with.
But Bournemouth's in a good recent form, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so is West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think West Ham, they're at home. They're looking better recently.
I think, yeah, and I think West Ham have now seen the light. I think West Ham can now see a way out of the relegation zone. And I think that kind of motivation is hard to ignore. I think once you have that adrenaline rush for something like that, I think they might keep going. But as you say, Bournemouth are in a good run of form. It's not that Bournemouth are bad. I think sometimes when you have that kind of motivation that West Ham are going to have, it's not logical.
Yeah.
But Flossie's with us. She says 2-1 the Hammers. Gary says 2-0 West Ham. Will says 0-0. We haven't had any 0-0s predicted so far, so maybe he's right. Dave Boy says 2-1 West Ham. Sachin says Bournemouth will win. Not that hard, this one. Well, I think the unanimous shout is West Ham, and I reckon probably 2-1 seems to be the thing. But easily, it could be the other way around. Easily. Now, Sachin would have went, with a score, he would have went 3-1 to Bournemouth. But this one, City, Newcastle. No, Wills, it'll be 8 o'clock. The times on this are an hour out because the website is in Europe.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this game. I really don't know.
Glossy, that's what I'm just looking at.
Yeah. Don't have to say sorry. Listen, we're in a we don't win at the Etihad. Like, we don't. So if anyone says City win, that is probably the more likely result. I would say is City's going to win this game, but I don't see a world where it's guaranteed. So I'm just going to say 2-1 Newcastle.
I would go with 2-2. Would be my proper prediction. Flossie says she won't predict her team to lose, so I feel like Flossie is abstaining.
I was going to say, I was tempted to abstain on this one as well. But I'm just going to say a 2-1.
Sachin says 4-0 City. I don't see City conceding. I don't think City are that solid at the back. Is that wee bucko playing? Kushanov, is he playing? Because he's been playing all season. He's been really decent, but recently he had a bit of a few scares, and I think maybe that might affect him a bit. Gary says 2-1 to City. Dave Boy, Newcastle will do better than Exeter. 7-1 to City. He's given you a goal. Isn't it magnanimous of him? Wills is with me, and he says 2-2. And Sachin says they smothered Fulham. To be fair, I don't think Fulham and Newcastle are the same.
I was going to say also this month they drew 2-2 to Tottenham. So
yeah, like this.
If we're going to use that as a barometer, I don't know if that's the best one to use.
Your last 4 fixtures against City at the Etihad are quite worrying. They are a bit. Do you know what I forgot to do? Because I'm a silly dope. Jay left a score prediction for United. Marv left one. Marv said 2-2. We haven't got to that one yet. And he's left one for Spurs and Arsenal, and he's left one for United and Everton. He hasn't left one for City and Newcastle.
Probably the best.
So where are we at? So me and Wills reckon a draw. You obviously are hoping for a win. And we have Gary and Sachin and Dave Boy predicting losses for you guys. So I think that means we have to go with a City win. I think you are going to get at least a goal. So as a compromise, let's go with this. So Sunderland and Fulham.
7-0 Fulham.
Okay. Is there any reason or just because it's Sunderland?
There's no reason to it. Just truth.
And now, your real score prediction, Ash.
6-0 to Fulham.
You're as bad as Dave Boy. Sunderland have really started to struggle. I don't think Xhaka's back for another while. They clearly can't operate without him. Now, I think even no matter what happens, they're still going to finish about mid-table. They're not going to fall into relegation, even scrap. They've done excellently in the season, no matter what happens now. But they've fallen off a cliff. Fulham have doing reasonably well. I reckon it could be 2-0.
2-0 to the Fulham, to the Cottagers.
Okay. We don't often agree on score predictions, you and I. We're doing all right this week.
We agree on 7-0.
Yeah, something like that. Flossie says 3-0 Fulham. Sachin says 2-0 Fulham. Dave Boy says 2-0 Sunderland. Gary says 3-2 Sunderland. Wills is not giving a score prediction. He's just chatting. He's here for the chats. He's happy the Arsenal part is almost over and he's moved on from score predictions. So I think we are unanimous, more or less, on Fulham. I reckon we go with the
2-0.
The 2-0, because that seems to be the goal for it. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Wolves are going to beat Palace.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I've heard that every time we do a Wolves prediction.
They're getting more points. They're getting more points. I'm doing all right.
They've had 2 draws, in the last 2 games. I think it's going to be 2-0 Palace.
Well, I'm going 2-0 Wolves. I actually think Wolves could win this, genuinely. If Glasner keeps going, the players are just going to be like, we're not even going on the pitch. Sod off, you mong. So I do think Wolves genuinely could win this. Like maybe 1-0 for real. But Gary says 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Sachin says 2-2. Flossie says 1-1. Dave Boy says Glasner masterclass 2-0 Wolves. Will says 2-2 as well. So actually, we're a draw. And we have 2 2-2s. So I love it. I love these score predictions. I do enjoy them. Now, as
Wills,
I said...
Wills, is there a reason why you're saying 2-2?
2-2.
No, I'm more thinking because of what was the Arsenal Wolves score. 2-2.
Oh, trauma. But speaking of trauma, Liverpool have been a wee bit higgledy-piggledy this season. Forest have just got Vitor Pereira in. We've just spoken about the fact that Vitor Pereira and Marinakis have been a winning combination previously. And they won their first game with Pereira 3-0. This is his first home game with Nottingham Forest. Liverpool have been erratic and not very good. On that vein, one.
I think it's going to be 3-1 Liverpool.
Ash, I did my best there. Really tried. I couldn't predict.
I don't want Liverpool to win, but I think they will.
Yeah, we need all these people to drop points. We need everybody to lose.
Yeah.
I need you to lose. I need us all to lose because my team can't do this.
Well, you don't have to wish very hard for us. We're away at the Etihad.
Fair. So, what have the chat got to say? Gary says 3-0 Liverpool, so he's more or less in line with you. Dave Boy says 3-1 Forest. Will says 3-1 Liverpool. And Sachin is reminding us Liverpool lost the reverse fixture 3-0. And that was before Pereira came in. So actually, I think it could be 2-1 to Forest. Sachin has won me over. And he said his prediction was 3-0 to Forest. Forest are Liverpool's bogey team. So you said Liverpool, Gary said Liverpool, and Will said Liverpool. Me, Sachin, and Dave Boy are saying Forest. So we need a tiebreaker. And I don't know if Flossie is at her keyboard.
I will say I want Forest to win, so let's change it to a Forest win.
Excellent. What score? They all seem to be, no matter what the direction is, they're all like 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, 3-1.
I would have said 2-1.
Okay.
If that was the case.
2-1.
I can't see Forest putting 3 past Liverpool.
Well, they did already this season.
I know, but it was different. Like you got
whatever. Right, hold on, because Marv left us a prediction for this one. So Marv said for Spurs Arsenal 2-2.
Ooh.
He said, this is exactly what he said. Just so Wills doesn't hate me, I will say 2-2 draw, Spurs and Gunners. Spurs will come back from 2 goals down. The jet lag wasn't getting to him that bad.
I think your camera's froze, Lou.
Oh, is it back now?
Yeah, there we go. It's back.
Oh no.
There's a lot of draws I can see in the chart. 2-2, 2-2. A lot of Desmonds.
I think Spurs are going to beat Arsenal. I think Tudor is going to dare. I think Arsenal.
Right, Arsenal.
Their heads are not in the game.
It's over for their champion. It's over for their league if they lose this, I think.
Raya against Brentford was complaining about crowding in the box from a throw-in. He then took out Gabriel to cause a goal against Wolves. If he had just let Gabriel take that goal wouldn't have happened. Raya, personally, is capitulating. He is a key part of their defence. I think Tudor will to dare, and I think Tottenham 3-1. Meanwhile,
I don't see a single
Will
person.
is trying to sabotage me.
There hasn't been a single person that says Arsenal win. And it's weird because I said Man City to win the league, and I'm about to be the only person here to predict Arsenal to win. 2-1 to Arsenal.
Sachin says Raya is going to get shithoused by Spurs and it will be glorious to watch. Not going to lie. Genuinely, Ash, I've watched both of their last 2 matches. Raya has lost it.
Yeah.
Lost it.
The last goal for Wolves definitely had a howler there with Gabriel. Not going to lie. Watch
back. If you type in Raya referee or Raya complaining into like Google or X and put in Brentford, he literally runs to the referee to complain he's being in the box. Genuinely, man's lost it. Sachin, sorry, Wills. I'm so sorry, Wills. I keep forgetting because Wills is so nice. I keep forgetting he's an Arsenal fan. Sachin said, I said it the other day, Tudor is a good interim coach. He will improve the dire footy that Frank was playing. But what are the people saying? Sachin is saying, Sachin's agreeing with me. 3-2 Spurs, game of the week. Flossie is saying 2-2. Nobody else has given me a score. They're too busy sabotaging the stream. Give us a score, lads. Or we're just going to have to go with the Spurs win. Because so far, we've had 2 Spurs wins, 1 draw and 1... You said Arsenal win, yeah?
Yeah, I think Gary said 2-2. I think that was just...
Was that not for the last one?
I think...
Oh, no, yes. So Gary, sorry, you're correct. Gary's 2-2 was for this one.
Yeah.
You're right. So we have 2 draws and 2 Spurs wins. Oh, and obviously Will's going to go with an Arsenal win.
Yeah,
so
and I said
Arsenal wins as well.
Yeah.
Streets! Dude, right, quickly, we need a tiebreaker. Spurs, Arsenal. Which one? Because you've missed everything else. We've been here for 2.5 hours, man. Get in with your Spurs prediction. Never mind your United one.
Will's also hasn't technically said Arsenal to win, which is kind of weird.
He hasn't, has he? Could we have a specific prediction from Will's, please?
I feel like he's abstaining.
Oh, Gary says 2-1. Gary has gone from a draw to a Spurs win. Streets went for Arsenal win, but actually doesn't matter because Gary has tipped us over. Me, Gary, and Sachin. Woohoo! Sorry, Wills. Apologies. Although Wills still has not put in a score.
Yeah, do you know what? Maybe he actually doesn't believe.
Oh no, he's come back at us. 3-0, another Ezzy hat-trick. But you're still outnumbered. We had 3-2-2 there. So that means we're going with a Spurs win. Now, the thing is, if they beat Spurs on the new manager bounce in the North London derby, I actually think the momentum goes completely the other way and it puts the pressure back on City. Because this specific fixture is such a big one for Arsenal. I think they could both drop points in terms of City and Arsenal. I think they could both drop points between now and the end of the season. But I think some matches will be more important than others for momentum. Streets, yes, 3-2. And do you see if you turned up 2.5 hours ago to listen to our reasoning, to listen to our talk about the title race and the relegation battle, you would understand why it's 3-2. But you were late, you missed all of the fun, and now you don't understand the score prediction. So you just keep them question marks to yourself. Get back to the start of the stream, and then give me question marks.
I also did say 2-1 Arsenal, Streets, by the way.
Yes, Streets. You're in Ash's camp. You're in Ash's gang. We know how that goes. Okay. But
Everton, Man United.
Yeah. Does anyone remember what happened the last time Everton and Man United played? Any chance? Anybody? Nothing to do with 10 men. Nothing to do with United just absolutely losing their minds. No. But not only have we improved since then, we have a new manager.
Yeah, that is true. You do have a new manager since then.
And to be fair...
And you will have 11 players on the pitch, at least at the start.
We hope.
At least at the start of the game.
Carrick. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't think it'll be easy. I think they're going to stick it to us. And I actually think since Jack Grealish has been injured, their results have been quite good. I don't think there's a correlation, but they have been. Because I thought they were going to fall off when he got injured and they haven't. So I've been watching it.
God, the thing is, it's an 8 p.m. on a Monday as well.
Yeah, but we've played a lot of Monday night games this season. This has to be our 6th or 7th Monday night game this season. So we're used to that. I actually think this is going to be a really hard game. I think it's going to be a really hard game. We haven't played in 12 days. We haven't had a match in 12 days.
I'm saying
I think
1-1.
it's going to be hard. You think 1-1?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 2-1 United, but I'm not super confident. There's other matches I've been a lot more confident. This one I think is going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
So, what are people saying in the chat? Gary says, oh no, I saw one above this. Gary says 3-1 United. Good man, Gary. Sachin says 2-0 Toffees. Sorry, Lou. Moyes gonna shithouse another win with NDI hitting form. I forgot their manager was Moyes. He's a cretin. He loves to beat us. He's a cretin. I'm actually very nervous about this one. I'm sticking with 2-1. I'm genuinely concerned about this match.
I know. I think this could be a bogey fixture for you, if I'm going to be honest.
It is, isn't it? It really feels like bogey. It really feels bogey.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to stick with 1-1, but I could still see it being a 2-1 either way.
Yeah, I don't like this match. Wills is saying 2-1 Everton because he doesn't like the Arsenal prediction. That's fair. I think that's fair. Streets is saying, yeah. Oh, I forgot about Moyes. I forgot about Moyes. I don't like this fixture. I'm sticking with a United win. I don't like this fixture. It's not good. And with Moyes, it's not good. And actually, no, I don't want to favourite Spurs. Thank you very much. SofaScore. Everton are in 8th. Everton are in 8th. They're just under Brentford.
Yeah, they're not doing as bad as what people think. I feel like they've kind of just gone a bit under the radar.
They have, haven't they? Oh my God, if we lose and Chelsea win, they would overtake us. And if we lose and Liverpool win, they'd be on level points with us. And depending on how many goals scored, we would end up potentially down in 6th if Liverpool scored a madness of goals. We need to win this. Like, we have to win this. Like, we must win this. Because otherwise, we could literally find ourselves out of Champions League spots. That easy. Yeah. We have to win this because we're going to have other harder games. And actually, Jay left his prediction before he went, and he said 2-1 United. And Marv had his prediction, and he said 3-1 United. So both Jay and Marv predicted wins for this. In the predictions, overall, United does seem to be... You've said draw.
A draw, yeah.
I've said United win more out of hope than anything else. Gary says United. Obviously, Jay and Marv said United. Sachin said Everton. Will said Everton because he's had enough of our predictions. Streets, man, have you actually even put a prediction in the chat? Because I don't see one. What are you doing here? Fighting Wills, but won't give me a score prediction. We're all waiting, man. Sachin says, I do not see a win, but good for you if you do win it. It's very tough. It is very, very, this is going to be a tough match for us. Will says serious prediction 2-2, which I could see as well. Street says 2-1 United. So overall, United is by far and away the most predictions. We'll go with 2-1. I've said 2-1. I have to say I'm not confident. I'm not confident on that. That one's rough. But calculate. If we are correct, which is unlikely, but if we're correct, I would be correct. Brentford would leapfrog Liverpool, which is what I said earlier.
Bloody hell.
That would actually be, if Villa ended up dropping out, I would be right there. So that would be interesting.
We would go down to 11th. Bloody hell.
That's not great.
It's not, but I could see it happening against away at Man City.
True. What does it do to the bottom? It brings it a lot closer. It brings Spurs up away. It brings Brighton down towards it, which is what we thought anyway. It does also bring Leeds down.
Yeah, like I said, I think Leeds is definitely in the shout of being a shot of getting relegated. I think they're definitely in that.
It really tightens it up here. Even if some of them are right, that really tightens it up down here. You guys need to start getting... Have you tough fixtures after City? You have more City deals.
We do have another City game.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
We have some better fixtures.
Okay. But I think Brentford needs to be watched. 100%. This is going to be interesting. It's all interesting. I love it. It's all very, very interesting. But lads, it's 10 past 10 at night. We have had a wonderful stream. We've had the best of times. I was going to say the worst of times, but it's not. It's just all been the best of times. Harold is here. He says, getting ready for 1,200 kilometers on the road tomorrow, enjoying the Olympics. We just took the record for most goals by a nation in the Winter Olympics. We are winning this week, no doubt in my mind. And Harold is a United fan. So that means we're winning, really. Thank you for being here, Harold. Thank you for sharing your good news. And also, stop working so hard. You work too hard. Gary, I put the link in the description. I've labeled it as meme. So if you go to the description of the video, I've put the link. I've just called it meme, and there should be a link there to bring you to that the movie one. So Sachin says, I hope Brentford makes the Europa. Everybody's saying big up, big love, great chat, great show. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the fixtures. Make sure you don't forget to drop your like. And we will talk to you very, very soon. Have a good one, everyone.